All right, we are live 2026 NFL Draft Day 2. Guys, this is I've said this before. I will continue to say this. This is my favorite day of the NFL Draft. I did not go live aside from a couple of picks last night. We know which pick I went live for last night. Look, I'm looking forward to tonight, and there's a lot to break down, a lot to discuss. What I will do is, in this year versus years past, is I've waited for the picks to be made on TV, but it gets a little like, okay, like what are we waiting for? Okay, the times that the TV is 8 minutes behind what's actually going on. So I don't want to do that tonight. I don't want there to be, I don't want to sit here and wait, 15 minutes for a pick to be announced. So if a pick is announced, we will, we'll discuss it live. I guess that means that there will be spoilers. So if you are co-watching, you might be watching TV, then I'm just getting out in front of it that I will be spoiling some picks. Quickly, I will ask if you are just joining the stream. I will quickly ask you, and I'll ask periodically, but if you guys could like the stream, it helps tremendously. I would very much appreciate it. We recently had 241,000 subscribers. We hit it last night, so genuinely cannot thank you guys enough for the support. This is going to be an incredibly fun night, and one that I am very, very much looking forward to. So I'm actually going to, there's a lot that I want to discuss tonight. I will be casually promoting the merch. I would say throughout the stream. You see the football analysis hat I do have a football analysis shirt on. So I will be casually promoting the merch as well throughout the stream if you guys are interested in the merch. And like I said, it's just going to be a great time. So a football appeared. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I would not lie to you guys. So football does indeed appear whenever you like the stream. A football icon does appear. But if you guys, if you're going to be around for the long haul tonight, you're going to be around for a couple of hours, who was your favorite pick in round one? Who was your guy what was the most shocking pick that you guys were surprised by? For me, it was either Caden Proctor or Ty Simpson. That was definitely one that I was not prepared for. And that was, to me, was just unreal. Caden Proctor, I couldn't believe it. Rueben Bain's a good call as well, by the way, because I didn't think that there was going to be any chance that Rueben Bain was going to be there. So I think Rueben Bain, believe it or not, is actually applicable for that. Mansour Delane, Maryland born. Shout out. I got a shout out. Shout out. Let's go, baby. Maryland. I do have a Maryland tattoo. I don't have the flag tattooed. If we are going to be around for the long haul, I guess we should probably at some point talk about like state flags and not to be that guy. But what I will say, if you're not from Maryland, my state flag, my state flag kind of mogs your state flag, but anyway, we're going to talk everything here. I will say, by the way, this is a good comment here from Moist Satellite. Great username. My buddy's a Jets fan, seemed happy for the first time in months yesterday. So I had a tweet last night. It went, there were a couple tweets that I sent off last night that went pretty, not viral, but there were, a couple thousand likes here and there. And it was, I could see them coming back in a couple of months. Oh, what an idiot, whatever. I like the process of the Jets drafting Kenyon Sadiq and Omar Cooper or acquiring those players. But when it was just David Bailey and Kenyon Sadiq, I was very much like, oh, this is not good. Why would you do that? Mekhi Lemon was there. You could have had Rueben Bain and Mekhi Lemon, which I still stand by that. But if you would have said they drafted Omar at 16 and then Kenyon Sadiq at pick 30, then that's a much more palatable process by the Jets. EJ, appreciate it. EJ says, last year I watched your stream for round 2. Thank you. And the Seahawks traded to get Eamon Warry. Hopefully we do the same for a DB or edge. Yeah, it would be good. It would be really good. Look, I love that pick for them last year. And it was, I would say it panned out pretty well. By the way, I did ask a couple of you guys to like. I asked you guys to like it, and it just the likes went shot up. So I do appreciate that. We're gonna be here for the long haul. Like I said, I am going to pin. If you guys are interested in any merch, I am going to go ahead and comment that link below if you guys are interested. And who do you guys think is going to be first off the board tonight? That is definitely a question that I have because what I want to do is I want to pull up a simulator. That way we can talk about everything, and that way we can kind of see how the board plays out in real time. It'll also be easier to like track everything. That way I can just click like one button. I can click, okay, great. We already have everything in front of us. So let me go ahead and pin this comment here that we are, or of the merch rather, and then I will have the not the simulator, but the thing where we can easily just track. There we go. So there's that. Boom. Let's go ahead and pin that baby. Like I said, guys, this is my favorite night. I'm so looking forward to this, and hopefully we don't have a pick like tonight by the Vikings where we are, just not, hopefully we don't have a Caleb Banks pick. And what I will say, by the way, about Caleb Banks is Caleb Banks specifically, I like the idea of what we're going for with Caleb Banks, because Caleb Banks is a player that is a tone setter, and this is a team that has desperately needed a tone setter for a very long time. So for the Vikings to finally have a player that is a tone setter, that's good for a team that desperately needs a tone setting player. And the reality is, if Caleb Banks works out and everything is good with Caleb Banks, then we are looking at a player that, guys, there were legitimate comparisons to Chris Jones. So just need him to stay healthy. But I thought Dylan Thieneman was a really good prospect, and it kind of annoys me that the Bears drafted Dylan Thieneman, because Dylan Thieneman is, again, a really good player. So for the Bears to be able, a division rival, to be able to take, again, that caliber of player, it's just frustrating. So the 49ers are up on the clock, pick 33. I'm going to say this a lot tonight, but it makes so much sense for the 49ers to draft Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. They obviously have a big need at safety, and it just makes so much sense for the 49ers to draft Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. That's one of the more obvious ones that I would think. Mike Lab, appreciate it, or McKay Lab, appreciate it, says, glad to be here together and see what new and fun ways the Dolphins can teach me humility. Tough one last night, brother. I am sorry that you had to go through that last night, especially the Caden Proctor and the process in which how the Dolphins drafted Caden Proctor. That's not one I can get behind. That's in terms of just process, in terms of how we got to the point where the Dolphins were. Caleb Downs is there, Ruben Bain's there, Vega Iwane's there, Makai Lemon was there. I don't get it. And that is one where what really just frustrates me in with teams is whenever they make poor decisions for no reason. There's no reason to pass on Caleb Downs. There's no reason to pass on Ruben Bain if you were the Miami Dolphins. There's no reason to pass on Makai Lemon. But they did, and that's what happens. So like I said, whenever picks are made tonight, we will be going over them as they happen. I'm not going to sit here and wait for TV to talk about it. And at times on TV, everything goes on for like 5 or 10 minutes at a time. So there's times where you're sitting here waiting for one pick, and we're still like, we're waiting on one pick, and they have to have a 5-minute presentation, and the NFL is 2 picks ahead. So that's why we are not going to do that tonight. All right. Monte asks, just curious, how much college football do you get to watch with your focus on the NFL? I watch on Saturdays. If there's a game on a Wednesday night, MACtion in late October, November. I'm not making it appointment television to watch Miami play Toledo of Ohio, or Toledo, Miami of Ohio to play Toledo. I'm not making it a priority to watch Central Michigan play, any of those schools, right? Kent State, whatever. But on Saturdays, I do sit down and watch. It's hard to keep up live with all of the games going on, just because, especially if you have like a, LSU, Tennessee at night, or if you have Georgia, Alabama at the same time, whatever, right? But generally, I would say I'm a casual watcher live of what's going on. And I'm definitely not keeping up with, oh my gosh, this player missed practice on Thursday for Auburn, or this player tweaked his hamstring in week 3 and he's been out for 3 weeks in real time, I would say. MACtion is definitely entertaining football. Good call on that one. MACtion is definitely entertaining football. Alligator Jones, appreciate it, says, what do you think the likelihood of the Bears trading up is? 2 late seconds, would love to see them trade up for TJ Parker or Zion Young. I think there's actually a higher likelihood than people, I would say, realize at this point, just because of exactly that. And what I am going to do here, I want to pull up I want to pull up just so I have, hold on, I want this exactly to come up, just to see the prospects that are available. And that's what we are. All right, here we go. Perfect. All right, so let me zoom me out for a second. And there we go. So you can see like the prospects that are available. And this is just PFF's. These are not my rankings, but I will actually pull up my rankings though. But you can see, let me go to edge real quick. There's a lot of good edge rushers still available. Cassius Howell gets after the quarterback. TJ Parker does a good job. So does Zion Young, is a top 20 player to me. I love Zion Young. Gabe Akis, I'm also really high on. So there's still a lot of great prospects available. And I am going to pull up my big board. That way we can reference the whole thing here. I do have this from the other day. So I still have Zion Young there. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren still available. Those are, and Jermod McCoy, those are the 3 players that I have in my top 20 that are still available. So those players are available within that are still on the board. Jermod McCoy, though, is definitely a little different just because of the injury situation, and that's I can't sit here and tell you how far Jermod McCoy is going to fall. Nobody can. So that's definitely one to monitor. And we do have my big board. I will gradually reference that. Let me pull up my big board here. The overall big board. You guys will like this one here. Here we go. My 2026 big board. Oh, wait, I'm moving something around. Hold on. Here we go. Here is the big board. And I'm going to move the camera around here. That way you guys can see it. So here is the general. Obviously, you can see, I can get all the players on the screen. So there, it goes by rows of 20. So you can see last night where everybody went. But Zion Young, Jermod McCoy going to save a franchise. I like where you're at, Greg Gamer. I like where you are. Super chat from the Big Phil. Appreciate it. Hey, who do you think the Bengals draft? If the Bengals can walk out with Jacob Rodriguez, guys, they're big winners. I have said a lot of things about the Bengals before, but if they can walk out with Jacob Rodriguez and Dexter Lawrence, great draft for him. Joe says, what's up from Slovakia? Appreciate it. Love your streams. How many starter prospects do you think are still available? Quite a few. You look at Avion Terrell, Colton Hood. I mean, these are in the 20s. We mentioned the guys that are in the top 20 in Jermod McCoy, Zion Young, and McNeil-Warren. But I don't think you guys can actually see me moving my mouse around. I'm not sure if you guys can actually see that. But anyway, I am moving my mouse around to point at them as they're going on. But anyway, you can see Avion Terrell here, Colton Hood, Emmanuel Pregnon, Denzel Boston, Christian Miller, Jacob Rodriguez, Cade McDonald, Cassius Howell. There's a lot. Chris Bell's hit or miss, but Jeremy Bernard. There's a lot of great players still very much on the board. And then we even get into the 40s and 50s. There's still a lot of great players on the board, guys. So tonight is, like I said, tonight is my favorite night of the draft. It is. This is what I live for. So. And it'll definitely be interesting whenever the Vikings are on the clock. By the way, I did mention it earlier, just a couple minutes, where I'm not going to mention it every 5 minutes, but 500 people in here. Appreciate you guys joining me for day 2 of the draft. We're at 88 likes. Let's get it up to 150. I may do a giveaway tonight. We'll see. May do a giveaway. Like I said, we may give away some merch. We'll see. There's a lot of good things coming to the channel soon that I'm really excited this year. But day 2 of the draft is live. We are going to, I'm going to be able to pull up Twitter. That way I can reference a couple of tweets as things go down. Because if I see something happen in real time, I definitely want to be able to share. Hey, a football does appear. Exactly. Let's take a look here. I just want to see if there is anything. Draft good players shirt. I've thought about making this. I thought about making a shirt that says draft good football players. After Mansour Delane, who is your next LSU player on your big board? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I actually got to tweet out the link that we are in fact live. So let me go ahead and tweet that out. But I know Jordan Jefferson, or not Jordan, the receivers, I didn't have in my top 150. I might have botched the name. We're at the point in the year where there's so many names that are regularly like tossed around where I am not the best at remembering exact, like, hey, this 6th round prospects. It's just this point in the year. But let's keep it rolling here, guys. All right. AJ Halsey. Yes, AJ. Good call on AJ Halsey. All right. 49ers are on the clock. Jeez, we got up to 150, baby, or 147. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go, baby. Let's go. 49ers are on the clock. And whenever this pick is in, guys, I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know immediately. I'm not going to wait for the TV to, for them to let us know on ESPN. As soon as I find out, you guys, it's free game to comment whoever they take. Just being fully transparent about that. So, NFL Draft Day 2 live. This is, like I said, guys, this is my personal favorite day of the draft. I absolutely live for NFL for the Draft Day 2. And we will be live next year as well for round 1. The 8 minutes in between each pick was nice. Like, it was really nice. And I thought that at times the 10 minutes between picks really dragged, but last night it was good pace. It felt like it was repetitive. It didn't feel like there was so much time in between picks. I thought that there was a good amount of time to stomach each pick, break each pick down, and then still be able to interact with the chat, have good conversations. So what we are going to be breaking down with each pick is, this player's fit, where I had them on my board, what I think their role could be in their rookie year, how often till they crack the starting lineup, because every player that is selected tonight, you would like to think that their goal is to eventually start for the team that drafts them, especially early on. I mean, that's just 33rd overall pick for borderline first round. These are still high impact players. There's still top 20 players on my board available. I wonder if Goodell sent a message to get picks in when they can. Last year felt like every team waited till the 10 minutes were up. This year teams are getting in at 4 minutes. It was nice. It was nice to watch. I would say last night was a tremendous viewing experience. All right. The Big Phil asks, do you think the Cardinals grab Nussmeier or do they keep who they have and draft a project quarterback later? Also, merch looks swell. Appreciate it, Big Phil. And what I would say about the Cardinals at this point is, guys, everybody knows the Cardinals. Like, I hate to be this negative about the Cardinals, but look at the division. You're not going anywhere this year. You might as well just take a throw at Drew Aller and see what happens. Drew Aller physically has all the tools to be able to be a franchise quarterback. Now, mentally, I don't know if he's going to get there. I don't know if he's going to. I mean, there's a lot of consistency issues with Drew Aller, but he has all the tools, so you might as well go for it and hope that it works out. All right. I think networks wanted to end in the 3-hour window. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense for what happened last night, I would say. Because I saw something where it said it was like 2 hours, 53 minutes. And it was, that checks out is what I would say. All right, baby. 49ers are on the clock. 49ers are on the clock. I'm going to ask you guys to predict who you think they are going to take. I'm going Emmanuel McNeill-Warren. Unintentionally, I probably will sound like Mel Kiper until Emmanuel McNeill-Warren is taken. The 49ers pick is in. The 49ers pick is in. We'll see who they take here. And like I said, once we find out who they take, guys, it's fair game. It is fair game. I am letting you know as soon as I can. I'm not going to... I've done it in the past where I wait for the TV announcement, and then what I'm trying not to do is I have the chat on a different screen here. So what I try not to do is, I don't want to look at the chat. Nope, it is fair game. So whoever they take, we are going to find out in real time. It's got to be Emmanuel McNeill-Warren, right? Waiting for confirmation that... Emmanuel McNeill-Warren falling to the 49ers, it makes so much sense. 49ers... let me put my hat on correctly. Sorry about that. 49ers 33rd pick. Who is it? The pick is in. They will not move out. Yeah, we know the pick is in. I'm still trying to figure out who they're selecting. Who are they taking? They're about to announce it now. I still haven't seen it. Here it is. Wow. The 49ers are going to take Dejuan Stribling at 33. Holy cow. Okay, Dejuan Stribling is a talented receiver from Ole Miss. Let's just, for reference here, I was a little lower on Dejuan Stribling. So let's just go ahead here and let's pull up where I just want to look up for reference where the 49ers, or where PFF actually had Stribling, and I know this is not like everybody's big board, but for the 49ers to take Dejuan Stribling at pick 33, guys, PFF had him at 112. That I don't like the pick. For reference, I'm just trying to figure where I had him on my board. Hold on here. I might have had him out of the top 100 here. Hold on. We're going to... Guys, this is just a... I had him at 97. I had Dejuan Stribling at 97, and the 49ers take him at 33. That's a shocking one, man. I don't like it. The initial grade that I would give here, I'm not going to grade every single pick immediately and just especially shit on every pick, but I would give that a very low grade. That would probably be, I would say, a D. We'll see how it pans out. I will say that for Kyle Shanahan specifically, he is a good blocking receiver, but man, guys, I'm not a fan of this pick at all. To take Dejuan Stribling at player 33, the value is not even close. Denzel Boston is a much better player than Dejuan Stribling. My biggest question is why. And the 49ers also traded out of Omar Cooper last night. So you sit here and you wait all day. This isn't like a big anti-Dejuan Stribling thing, but it's more of a, why are we doing this? Somebody asked, do you think we see Caleb Proctor taken tonight? Caleb Proctor is a fun interior defensive line prospect from Southeast Louisiana. Look, I'm going to say this. If we just saw Dejuan Stribling go at pick 33, yes, we can very much see Caleb Proctor go tonight. Yes, 100%. And I will fire off like tweets in the middle of this, but the whole point is, and why Shanahan doesn't look happy with the pick, says Big Phil. Do you blame him? I had him at 97. PFF had him at 112, and again, don't take PFF's rankings for everything. Don't take my rankings for everything. There were some people really high on him, but trading out of the first round when Omar Cooper was there and drafting Dejuan Stribling over Denzel Boston at the top of day 2 is a choice. I have no idea where the Cardinals pick is in. Could this be Carson Beck? Could this be Drew Aller? You have all day to think about a pick, and that's what you come out and do. Guys, how do we even get to this point? Cardinals pick is in. Cardinals. Chase Bissanis, guard, Texas A&M. Good pick for the Cardinals. Good pick for the Cardinals. Good pick. Like it. That's fine. Good pick. It's not sexy. I like that. I like that selection for the Cardinals. So for reference, we'll get to my board here in a minute. I think Chase Bissanis is as close to kind of a plug-and-play guy as you're going to have. For reference, we don't have to go all the way down to player 97 for Chase Bissanis. I had Chase Bissanis at player 49. Let me move the screen over here a bit. I had Chase Bissanis at player 49. You take him at 34. I'm not too upset with the Cardinals taking Chase Bissanis here. Or sorry, I'm not upset at all, rather. Just I know that there's kind of a conversation of you had him at player 49, they take him at 34. I would have preferred Emmanuel Pregnon. You guys can see that I have Emmanuel Pregnon here at player 26 in my board. So like I said, I would have preferred him, but the value is way, way better for the Cardinals to be able to take Bissanis at 34 than Dejuan Stribling. Good question here from Max. Max asks if my list counts for positional value. It does not. It is strictly based on talent. And I will say, regarding my big board next year, I will have like specific player ratings. And I think the easiest way that I'm going to do that, you'll see a lot of times if you go onto like NFL.com or NFL Scouts, they'll have like, 7.21 or 6.85. I think for the ease of my sanity, I think I'm just going to have like similar to Madden ratings. 100 would be like Andrew Luck, Myles Garrett, the generational. So this year I've thought a lot about my personal process in terms of how I evaluate players. Ruben Bain and Jeremiah Love would have each been a 96, just for reference. Both clearly high first round caliber prospects. So that would be easy. That would be easy for that. So, all right. Positional value is overrated, says Oscar. Disagree, like, within reason. It depends. The Cardinals taking Jahmyr Gibbs, or the Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs at pick 12 a couple of years ago was awesome because they had the infrastructure, they had everything. So that was a perfectly fine pick. I'm eager to see who Buffalo selects here. I have openly said a lot of things about Brandon Beane. I am not a fan of Brandon Beane. I'm not a fan of them trading out of Omar Cooper last night. I did not like the process of them giving up a second-round pick and taking the contract on for DJ Moore. So, Brandon Beane, buddy, I'm hoping the best for you here. I'm hoping Denzel Boston. Derek, what's up? I'm hoping the best for the Bills. Because Bills Mafia, by the way, I've been to Buffalo several times. Phenomenal people. Love the people in Western New York. They're awesome. I couldn't say enough nice things about the hospitality and how nice people are in Buffalo. All right. Still waiting on the Bills pick, but the pick is indeed in. The pick is indeed in. Who do we think it is? I'm going to go Denzel Boston. It makes too much sense. It makes too much sense. The Bills pick is in. I still don't know who it is. It is about to be announced on screen. Ego says, love the content, Garrett. Keep it up. Will do. Appreciate it. Who is it going to be? They're actually about to announce it. And I think I might just let this one play through the TV because I have not seen it yet. But hold on. The Bills take Clemson edge TJ Parker. All right, so for the Bills to take TJ Parker, let's talk about this. I dislike it because I like it. It's a good pick. It's a good pick for Buffalo. I had mocked TJ Parker to the Bills in the first round at pick 27, so or 26 because yes, 26. I had mocked TJ Parker to the Bills at 26 for several reasons. They need edge help. They signed Bradley Chubb this offseason, but outside of Greg Rousseau and Bradley Chubb, I wasn't a big fan of the edge depth they had. Behind Bradley Chubb, who's had some injury concerns in his career, we're looking at Michael Hoyt, Andre Jones, and Javon Sullivan, and they took Landon Jackson in the third round last year, who had extremely minimal impact as a rookie. So all in all, I like this pick for Buffalo. Now, do I like the idea of them trading out of Omar Cooper when you are in a Super Bowl window to draft TJ Parker? Not really. But I do like the TJ Parker pick. in terms of drafting a good football player, this is it. TJ Parker, for reference, I had him at player 37 on my big board. So let's go ahead and pull up this right here. Let's go ahead and pull up the big board. And I had TJ Parker at player 37. So for the Bills to take him at 35, good on them. We do have a trade. The Texans have traded up a couple of spots. They traded up 2 picks. This is a really, really good trade for the Raiders here. I want to see if I can pull up Schefter's Twitter just to be able to actually break this down here. Or to actually show what we have here. Because this is a tremendous haul for the Las Vegas Raiders. So, in real time, hold on, where's Adam Schefter's Twitter? There we go. In real time, the Texans trade up to 36 to get 36 and 117. The Raiders trade back and also pick up 91. That's a great job by the Raiders, guys. That is a great job by the Raiders. You move back 2 spots, you get 91, you get another top 100 pick. I know they're giving up 117, or Houston's giving up 117. But I think this is a tremendous job right here by John Spytek. Anytime you can add a top 100 pick to move back 2 spots, again, they're also, giving up 117. But I think that's a tremendous job right there by the Raiders. So that's my biggest thing that I'll hammer home tonight is I just want to see a good process from teams in terms of how they get to players. Did they take... Let's go, baby. Good pick. Shout out everybody calling Cade McDonald McPounder. The Texans draft Keelan Rutledge, Caden McDonald. I like what the Texans are doing. This was everything that we preached this offseason leading up to the draft for the Texans. They draft Caden McDonald. So really, guys, I like what the Texans are doing. I really, really like what Texans are doing here. Let's go ahead and pull up the big board. So for the Texans to bring in Caden McDonald, he's player 33 for me here. I think I'm a little, let me move this down or move this up a little bit. Hold on here. Let's move this around. Hold on. I'm doing a bad job with this and hold on. There we go. Caden McDonald, player 33. Good luck scoring against this Texans defense, guys. Genuinely good luck scoring against this Texans defense. Now, for the Raiders to move back, by the way, since the Bills took TJ Parker and hold on, I'm trying to update this mock as it goes live. This is actually a lot more difficult than it to update live while keeping up with the chat while doing all of this. Let's go ahead and force this here. So I'm keeping up with the chat. Oh, you guys can see what I'm doing. I didn't realize you could see that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Caden McDonald to the Texans. See what the Giants are doing. The Texans jumped the Giants to take Caden McDonald. Guys, the Giants just lost Dexter Lawrence. So for the Texans to go get the player they wanted, I'm excited for Texans fans, guys. This is a great... Guys, this is awesome for the Texans. You know John Harbaugh wanted a big guy. You know he wanted just a big pounder in the middle of the defense. I'm excited for Texans fans, man. You guys deserve it. This is awesome. And that's such... Just all around, you talk about a win-win trade. That's a win-win trade, guys. That is a win-win trade for both sides. The Raiders get another top 100 pick. The Texans get a great defensive tackle in Caden McDonald. Win-win. All around win-win. Man. That's a great trade. All right. Mr. Frog, you are... that is an easy high user on channel. Goodbye. Jesus, man. That's a ban. That's a ban. I saw that he typed a bunch of messages. Didn't realize what was being said. That's an insta ban. That is goodbye. See you never. Anyway, Edward Robinson. Could Zion Young fall to 45? Honestly, I have no idea what Zion Young's current I have no idea. We'll see. We'll see what the Giants actually do after that. I mean, maybe the Giants are looking to trade out now because Caden McDonald was going to be their guy. So, I'm enjoying the stream 6-7. Appreciate it. Giants got to get Boston for Dart. Good call, Dom. I would really like that. Now, in terms of favorite drafts so far, guys, the biggest thing why I like drafts is, or why I like team-specific drafts is, I love following the process of how teams get to where they are. And Cade McDonald, Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, you put Keelan Rutledge on the offense to help out the ground game. There is no doubt that DeMeco wants to get bigger and tougher. So, I love this. And speaking of loving it, we're at 196 likes, guys. 200 right there, baby. I'm in my element right now. I'm in the zone. I'm having a great time. It is really humbling to be able to share this with you guys and to be able to just talk about ball for hours at a time, talk about everything. The Giants will select, we have it in, Tennessee corner Colton Hood at player 37. So, I like that pick. The Giants were definitely sniped. I think that is very fair to say that they were sniped. But let's go ahead and go back to the big board here. I liked Colton Hood a lot. I know I was higher on Colton Hood than consensus. I think he is a really good man-to-man corner. You can see that I have him right here at player 24. And Peter is in the chat. He says, I wanted Hood to fall to the Bengals. I don't blame you for wanting him to fall to the Bengals. Great man-to-man corner. This is a player to me that is going to start in the NFL for, I would say, a considerably, I don't want to say like 10 years, but I would say the duration of his rookie contract. Colton Hood, good player. John Harbaugh is, the team's going to love him. I would agree with Quencher here. He says he will be better than Flott. Or I could easily see that as what I'm saying. But now the Raiders are up here at pick 38. Guys, if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, you trade back, you get another top 100 pick. We got to go Denzel Boston. We have to go Denzel Boston. Come on. Just don't overthink it, guys. The Texans draft, the Texans I love it. I love what the Texans are doing. I'm going to update the draft as it goes on. Like I said, I love the TJ. There's only one pick that I haven't liked so far out of 5. Boston or Pregnon. I would kind of push back with Pregnon because they took Maui Noah last night. By the way, the Vikings are up soon. I know everybody loves to see me. There were a lot of. I saw a lot of. A lot of people. The reaction last night that I had went pretty viral on Twitter. It was just there were a lot of. I saw a lot of Bears Twitter enjoying me, not enjoying the selection that we made last night. But for the first time in 4 years, my team is selecting in the second round. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. But we'll see where the Raiders go. Just don't be stupid, guys. Just don't be stupid. Just take a good player. There's plenty of good players on the board. Denzel Boston going to this team, bringing a lot of size to this receiving room would be incredible. They have Jalen Naylor, they have Jack Besh, they have Trey Tucker. I'm not really sold on Dante Thornton, guys. I'm not. I hope he turns out, but I'm not sold on Dante Thornton. I wasn't the biggest Dante Thornton guy coming out of Tennessee last year. Bring in size to the Raiders receiving room and draft Denzel Boston. Who went at pick 34? I'll go ahead and what I will do as this plays out, I will update the board. That way you guys can see what we have here. So this is the board so far. I like to PFF's the interface is. I know they were in the news for a lot of bad reasons, but the interface is it's easy to use. And after tonight, we're kind of done with it. But anyway, look, my point is the interface very easy to use, very easy to keep up with. It's simple. Waiting for the Raiders. I wonder if they are. I think actually, do you guys prefer this? By the way, I just want some feedback here. Do you guys prefer if the board is there? That way, it's easy to keep up with. Definitely let me know regarding that. Definitely let me know. I see a yes. First reply from yes. Okay. That makes it a lot easier. Now, what I will do at times, prefer having the board there. All right, I do appreciate that, guys. You guys always know I'm open to feedback. What I will do is I will interact with the big board as well. So we will go in between here. So we'll be able to interchange both. So we'll have both. So I do like having the board there, and I actually like that a lot more in my end as well. So that is perfect. Perfect. Good call. Good call. You know who you are in the chat. Yes. Yeah. You guys. Okay. So you guys did hear my girl Meadow go crazy. What kind of dog? Beagle. Yeah. Meadow likes the pick. You guys. Good call on Meadow. She is. She's my look. I don't have kids. I'm not saying like dogs are kids, but like, you know, she's my girl is what I would say. And I do tweet pictures of her like pretty regularly. So, is Meadow a Sopranos reference? So Meadow is my dog. She's a beagle. I like to think of it as two things. Yes, Meadow Soprano, in the TV series. I would also like to think that my childhood dog Clover, who passed away a couple years ago, I would like to think she's kind of like running through a meadow right now. So I would like to think that it's like a double entendre. But anyway, or do we have the Raiders pick yet? Okay, the Raiders take Trayden Stukes from Arizona. So Trayden Stukes was a prospect. I wonder if PFF. So PFF has him at 61. I didn't know if they'd have him at. I didn't know if they'd have him at corner or where they'd have him. So Trayden Stukes is going to be 25 years old. I don't particularly like this pick. Not to say that Trayden Stukes can't work out for the Raiders. I know there were some people in the draft community, that were extremely high on Trayden Stukes. And I know I was a little lower on him. I personally had him. You can see him here. Let me move the screen over. I had him at player 81 on my big board. Not the biggest fan of the value there, obviously. We'll see where the Raiders go from here. And I'm actually curious. The Raiders have 2 more top 100 picks because of the Bills trade. I don't like the Trayden Stukes pick. Now, if I'm not going to slander the Trayden Stukes pick over Jermod McCoy. I can't say I like the pick over Avion Terrell, though they are different players, because Trayden Stukes, as you can see, 6'2", 200. If you are just getting into the draft, if you're not aware, Avion Terrell is a much smaller player. But I'm just not the biggest Trayden Stukes guy. I certainly would have preferred Brandon Cisse, and I'm just underwhelmed by the pick, guys. I'm generally underwhelmed by the pick. I thought you had a good chance to draft, to really set the tone here. Denzel Boston falls in your lap. Denzel Boston falls in your lap to help out your franchise quarterback, and you take Trayden Stukes. Not a fan of that. To me, that's not a good process. Let's take a look at the chat here. See if the one thing that I like to go to is I like to be able to go to the so give me one sec here. I like to go to the YouTube, see if everything is still streaming good, see if everything's good on this end. So just like to be able to check that out in between. So we're good and we're back. There we go. Not a fan of Denzel Boston falling in the Raiders' laps to help out Fernando Mendoza. And they take Trayden Stukes. Just not a process I can get behind, guys. So, all right, the Browns are on the clock. The Browns are up. Do we know what the Browns? Do we know who they are taking yet? I've not seen anything. Howie calling Browns. We'll see. We will see how this plays out. Do we have any updates on the Browns pick? The pick is in for the Browns. The pick is in. The Browns are taking guys, Spencer Fano, Casey Concepcion, and the Browns are taking Denzel Boston. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's look, the Browns, obviously everybody gets their jokes in and all of this and I'm taking the Browns to the Super Bowl and everything. Good, I like it. Good pick. New member. No B-Dog games, Knob Dog games. Appreciate it. Always give a hat tip. Appreciate you being a member of the channel. I like it. It's a good pick. The Browns had a great draft last year, and they're doing a good job. This is how. I mean, look. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to be the long-term answer there. I genuinely don't know how many people that actually do. If you do, you are by far in the minority of that. But look, you're building a good team here. Good call this year. Finally, Deshaun Watson has some weapons to throw the ball to. Yeah, you know why Deshaun actually hasn't panned out in Cleveland yet? Because he hasn't had weapons like Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. I've actually always said that. I'm happy for Browns fans. I really am. Good draft last year. Great draft last year. Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger, Harold Fannin, Quinshon Judkins. Hopefully he comes back good from injury. I might have forgotten a player in there because of how good their draft class was, so I was going kind of off the rip there, but Spencer Fano, Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, Armani DePaul, appreciate it, longtime supporter, appreciate it, next level analyst. The Browns, back-to-back great drafts for the Browns. Like I will say this, the Browns draft could end now, and it's a great draft. Back-to-back great drafts for the Browns. Absolutely love it. And again, I don't, just for transparency here, I don't think the Browns are going to, win 10 games this year. Obviously, the quarterback is going to be a big limitation for them. Obviously, I think everybody, again, knows that. But this is how you build a good team, guys. This is the start. So, let me go back to the big board here. I had Denzel at player 27. I had Concepcion at player 20, and I have Spencer Fano at 17. So, it's a great process, guys. That's the biggest thing. And I'm really happy for Browns fans because they deserve it. I mean, imagine watching your team go 1-31 over a couple of years. Then you have Baker, Nick Chubb, and Myles Garrett all at 25 years old or younger. And then you trade Baker away, and obviously whatever. I mean, you guys know what would have happened. Then you do the 3 first-round picks for Deshaun. I'm really happy for the Browns fan base. Good for them, man. This is a good class. This could end now, and the Browns are undoubtedly big winners from this class. So, great for them. All right. Do we know who the Chiefs are taking yet? Did we know who the Chiefs are taking? Chiefs draft. Who do they take? R. Mason Thomas, the pass rusher from Oklahoma. So, with R. Mason Thomas, I wonder if this will actually show up on his profile here on PFF. 6'2", 250. What I wrote down about R. Mason Thomas was I like him. I think he is a solid player for what he is. I do think that 40 is a little rich for R. Mason Thomas. I certainly don't think R. Mason Thomas is a better player than Zion Young in any capacity. I'm a little lower on R. Mason Thomas. I do love the Mansour Delane and I love the Peter Woods picks. I'm not the biggest R. Mason Thomas guy. It's not a bad pick. I'm a little lower on R. Mason Thomas than consensus. One of the reasons for that is I worry about R. Mason. Let me see if this actually comes up on his. It shows up on tape. His run defense grade was a 79. I'm a little surprised by that. I didn't think it would be that high, but that's kind of a watch the tape. Don't always just go simply off grades. But my point is with R. Mason Thomas, I didn't think he was the best against the run, and I also thought there were times, specifically with R. Mason Thomas on tape, where I thought if he didn't win immediately that he was kind of stalled out, and that's what worried me specifically with R. Mason Thomas. And what I wrote down was, this is kind of a one-sentence summary here. undersized edge with good first step that lacks, or at least like elite, that lacks elite power. Concern for durability at NFL level / how many snaps he plays per game, but like him as a secondary rusher. I don't have that concern at all with Zion Young. The Bengals are now up. The Bengals are taking Cassius Howell. Guys, I'm going to say this here about the Bengals. I have thought long and hard about, whether or not they, was the trade worth it for them to take Dexter Lawrence or to trade the number 10 pick for Dexter Lawrence, right? At some point, you have to be able to, pay good players, right? You have to have good players on your roster. So if the Bengals were openly saying, hey, we don't think that the board is going to break for us favorably, they didn't know that Caleb Downs was going to be there at pick 10 otherwise, I think they probably would have selected Caleb Downs. But anyway, for the Bengals to walk out with Dexter Lawrence and Cassius Howell, that's a big upgrade to the team. And I think that the Bengals are doing a good job. What I wrote down for Cassius Howell's write-up, bendy / really athletic pass rusher that can win in a variety of ways, wins with hand swipes, dips, athleticism, spin moves, always finds a way to get home. Cassius Howell finished college with over 130 pressures. I think he could definitely put on 10 pounds or so as he transitions to the NFL level. He's also, at times, a risky run defender, which is not something that you want. You want a good stout run defender. I do have that concern a little bit with Cassius Howell. Also, the arm length is definitely going to be brought up regularly. But as a pass rusher, I think Cassius Howell has a very high ceiling. And for reference here, I had Cassius Howell, I thought he was right in the low 30s. There he is, right there, 34. I like Cassius Howell. I certainly would have preferred Zion Young, but that's a pick that I can get behind. I like it. All right. What are Jags fans upset about? I see Jaguar fans are just hanging out at catering. What is the chat going on here? I'm going to go back fully on screen here for just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. 275 likes, guys. That's what's up. Appreciate everybody being here. The Saints are taking Christian Miller at pick 42. All right. Let's keep it rolling here. The Saints, Christian Miller. Good player. I mean, Christian Miller is a player. Hold on here. I'm going to see where I had Christian Miller on the board. 28. So you take Christian Miller at 42. You also have Jordan Tyson. Guys, Mickey Loomis is doing a good job. Mickey Loomis is doing a great job. He's doing a great job of bringing in talent. Mickey Loomis is doing a great job of bringing in talent. Great draft so far for New Orleans. All right. Somebody said EMW to the Vikings. I mean, as much as I would love that, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he's still, if we can walk out with Caleb Banks and Zion Young, or EMW and Caleb Banks, I'm fine with that. All right, let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep it rolling here. Let's go back here. Oh, I forgot Pro Bowl quarterback Shedeur Sanders when talking about the Browns earlier. My sincerest apologies. My sincerest apologies discussing the Pro Bowler himself, Shedeur Sanders. Was taking a swig of water, almost dropped some. Is Howell good? Yes, Cassius Howell is good. I see people that are, like, I guess, maybe watching live and then coming in. Cassius Howell is a great player. I like Cassius Howell. I compared him to a diet version of Nick Bonito. I think the way that he wins off the edge in that really athletic, bendy way that Nick Bonito does, explodes off the line of scrimmage. What I also really like about Cassius Howell going to Cincinnati in particular is obviously they just brought in Dexter Lawrence, so let's just play a magical game here. Who are you going to prioritize as the opposing offensive line? Dexter Lawrence or Cassius Howell? So we all know the answer to that. And my point is, with Cassius Howell, Myles Murphy was coming into his own last year towards the end of the year. They brought in Boye Mafe. They also have Shamar Stewart. Now they have Cassius Howell. We're talking about a plethora of pass rushers in Cincinnati. I like it for him. I like it for him. And it's a good pick. It's a good pick. All right, guys. Let's keep it rolling, baby. Let's keep it rolling. Trying to monitor the chat, trying to monitor the draft. I'm just trying to monitor everything as everything is kind of like unfolding, just because there is a lot going on at this particular moment. All right, the Saints take Christian Miller. We are aware of that. Dolphins, you went Caden Proctor last night. You also took Chris Johnson. Chris Bell's there. That's a bit more of a risk. Guys, we're running into a big tier difference in receivers here, by the way. So, somebody just said the Dolphins took Bell. Is that, I don't know if that's confirmed yet. I haven't seen it, if that is the case. Have not confirmed. We'll see if that's confirmed. By the way, if the Browns can somehow get a really good player, or really good player, great analysis there, Garrett, off the top of your head. If the Browns can somehow get a good quarterback next year, like somebody said, Arch, that would, I don't know if the Mannings would, I don't know if the Mannings would allow that, but I will say I like what they're doing. By the way, we are closing in on 1,000 people in stream. Like, I'm not gonna ask for like another like 20 minutes, but if we could like get up to 1,000, if we could like the stream, if we like, we're close to 1,000 people. I know we had over 1,000 last year, so it's like if we could somehow get there, that'd be awesome. But like, I do appreciate everybody being here. I know we're close, but let's keep it rolling, baby. Let's keep it rolling. Who do the Dolphins take? Believe in Shedeur. I'm not long term, not long term, baby. Poles should call Ian for a trade up. Poles should not. Just let Ryan Poles stay where he is. Trade. The Cowboys are trading for 49ers linebacker D. Winters. Okay. That's a mid-draft trade. I did a 49ers video a couple of weeks ago. I said I didn't think that D. Winters was that good last year. Let's go ahead and pull up Twitter here. I just want to get that exactly on the screen. So for me to do that, I need to... There's a lot going on here. Let me pull up Twitter just to be able to confirm this. This is from Rappaport himself. So let's go ahead and pull this up on screen here. I made a video about the 49ers last month. And what I was referring to within the... I didn't think that D. Winters was that like good of a player. And there were... Okay, so why did this not come up? Come on. Hold on. There's that. Not sure why that's not coming up. Anyway, it's not allowing me to... whatever. Anyway, look. The point is the Cowboys traded for 49ers linebacker D. Winters. So, there we go. Now we have it pulled up. Let me move the camera. There we go. The Cowboys are trading for 49ers linebacker D. Winters. I'm not really sure. I mean, I get it. I get why. They think it's an upgrade. This would probably make more sense because the Miami Dolphins, great pick here. The Miami Dolphins are taking Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, Texas Tech. Great pick by the Miami Dolphins. Great pick. Love it for them. That is something that we can absolutely get behind. And I have my thoughts on the Dolphins in terms of what they were doing last night, specifically with Caden Proctor. But for the Dolphins to get Jacob Rodriguez, I like it. He's a good player. I would like Jacob Rodriguez on my football team. Let's go to where I had him on the big board. Jacob Rodriguez, I had him at player 30. So this actually is the best player that I've had the Dolphins take so far. I had Jacob Rodriguez at 30. I had Caden Proctor Let me move the screen down a little bit here. I had Caden Proctor at 39, and then I had Chris Johnson at player 48. So Jacob Rodriguez is actually the best player that I've had for the Dolphins take so far. But Jacob Rodriguez, to me, is a guy that I think is going to be in the league for a very long time. And in terms of just being there, being at the right place all the time, I think it's Jacob Rodriguez. I think the biggest, what I would probably say is like a nitpick in Jacob Rodriguez's game, is some people don't like how he is in coverage. But guys, he had 4 interceptions last year, and you ready for this? 7 forced fumbles. That is, guys, 7 forced fumbles. He's really good. This is going to be cliche, but high IQ player. But he's athletic. I like Jacob Rodriguez a lot, and there's a reason people were very, very high on him. He actually finished 5th in Heisman voting last year. So, Jacob Rodriguez, tremendous player. And by the way, the Dolphins also have Jordan Brooks, who quietly, whether you guys know this or not, because anybody that talked about the Dolphins last year, it was only about Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer, and of course Tua. Jordan Brooks was a first-team All-Pro. So, I like this. I like this. Trade. We have a trade. The Jets are trading with the Lions. Okay, so we have a division rival on the clock here. The Lions are coming up to 44 from 50. They're sending 50 and 128 for 44. Okay. The Lions are on the clock. Oh, Jesus, just don't be... Who are they? I'm worried that they're going to take Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, because there's questions about Kirby Joseph's long-term, like with his knee. There is like some long-term concerns there in Detroit. I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm worried that could be the pick. I'm worried that, guys, Zion Young going to Detroit. Oh, that would not... It's so frustrating seeing your favorite prospects go to division rivals. So I really just don't be Zion Young. I don't know who they're coming up for. Who are the Lions? Would it be 2 rookies along the offensive line? I mean, could it be Pregnon? Could it be Pregnon? I'm nervous, guys. We have a division rival on the clock. I'm just this worries me, because they are, they're a good team. They're a really smart team. All right, so I'm nervous here. They draft well. There's a reason they've had the success they've had. I know everybody gets their jokes in about like gambling Dan Campbell and how if he has 20 in blackjack, he's going to tell the dealer to hit him, hoping for an ace and all of that. And 4th and 25, hey, let's go for it on our own 10-yard line. But they're a really good team. So I'm really nervous with what the Lions are going to do here. Because, all right, the Lions have traded up and they are taking Michigan defensive end Derek Moore. Okay. That's Derek Moore is a good player. I know I'm scrolling a bit for Derek Moore on the PFF big board. But Derek Moore is a good player. And I want to see if what his official weight is. Now, he's a good player, man. He is a player that's going to complement Aiden Hutchinson well. Derek Moore is a player I liked a lot, evidently not as much as the NFL, so I actually had Derek Moore. I had him at player 66 in my board. In theory, that is a little bit of an overdraft, but I can understand the vision that they have here with Derek Moore. He's a heavy-handed pass rusher, and they need... guys... I know PFF isn't everything, but look at the pass rush grade, look at the pass rush win rate. This is a player that knows how to get home. The Lions desperately needed another guy opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. One pick that is like not talked about in the Lions past couple of years because they whiffed on it was they wasted a 2nd round pick a couple of years ago, or whiffed rather, on Josh Pascal, a pass rusher from Kentucky. Derek Moore is, I would say, similar mold to that type of player. But this is a good pick for the Lions. Blake Miller, Derek Moore. Here's an idea. Why do you think the Lions are good every year? Do you see how they continuously address the trenches? Tyleik Williams in the first round last year. You think it's a coincidence they're that good? Tate Ratledge in the second round last year. Where do good teams regularly draft early? The trenches. So, good pick for him. Good pick for the Lions, and I like it. So, I do like that pick for the... I mean, that's good overall pick, man. I know it's a little bit of a reach in my board, but there's times where when you look at the situation, I think that the quote-unquote reach is certainly worth it. We do have a couple of big super chats here, so appreciate it. We have, let's see here. Let's go ahead and go here. We have Joe Dub says, I want you. I appreciate it. AJ, appreciate the super chat. AJ says, longtime viewer, lurker of the channel. Appreciate the 20 piece. Pat tip. Chargers fan, loved your analysis of them over the years. Thank you. Keep up the good work. By the way, your rant of the Vikings pick last night was hilarious. It's raw. No, I mean, I am very much. I mean, you guys know I'm obviously a diehard Vikings fan. They're my team. They will always be my team, and I get into it. And I mean, you guys know I get into it. And whenever the adrenaline starts flowing, whenever we're on the clock, and we're going to be on the clock in a couple of minutes, and right now I can start to feel the heart rate starting to increase a little bit here. God, the Ravens take Zion Young, guys. That you asked me who I wanted, I would have liked Zion Young, but I will say, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is still on the board. But for the Ravens here, I mean, this is such a Ravens pick. Vega Ioane in the first round, Zion Young in the second round. Let's just go ahead and pull up the big board here. I had Zion Young at 18 on my board, and I had Vega Ioane at player 9. If you combine both of those, 9 and 18, 27 is where the Ravens have drafted so far. They had the 14th pick and the 45th pick. I love it. That is an A plus pick for the Ravens. Vega Ioane and Zion Young is an absolutely incredible class for the Baltimore Ravens. That is such an incredible start. That's the Ravens have somebody fall to them every year. The Ravens and Browns, two of the best draft classes so far. I absolutely love it. And I'm actually really eager to see how Zion Young does. I mean, this is just a great all-around pick. Zion Young, I want to read the actual write-up that I have for Zion Young. Zion Young, raw natural power with an NFL-ready body who can set the edge in the run game and get after the quarterback. Really good leg drive, does a good job of turning speed to power. Good motor, relentless at getting after the quarterback. Seems like he would interview well based on high effort / given that he's a high effort guy on tape, given that he understands his role, he's not afraid to do the dirty work. Has all the physical tools to be a good number 2 rusher at the NFL level. Think he has a moderate floor with a decently high ceiling. Could be a 40 to 50 pressure a year guy towards the end of his rookie contract. Joseph, 20 piece, appreciate it. Says I would draft Meadow. I wouldn't be disappointed. Appreciate the 20 piece. Appreciate you showing support to my girl. Appreciate it. She is awesome. She's, like I said, she's my girl. She's the best. Jordan, do you like what the Steelers did last night? I'm going to be honest, not really. I thought it was a bit of a reach. I was not the biggest fan of they were going to take Mekhi Lemon, and then I think there's a question of did they panic a little bit? And I did not like drafting a project offensive tackle at pick 21. Full transparency. Why are EMW and McCoy falling? McCoy at least makes sense injury-wise. EMW, I'm not sure. Super chats are flowing, and guys, I appreciate it. But I'm eager to see who the Bucs go with here. We are 2 picks away from the Vikings, or 3 picks away from the Vikings being on the clock. I'm nervous. You guys obviously... Ooh, I'm getting nervous here, guys. I'm getting nervous. Do you think the Rams should take Jermon McCoy if he falls to 61? I feel like the risk would be worth the reward, but again, I don't know how bad the medicals are, so I can't exactly answer that. In fairness, Dick says, I enjoy your football analysis. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Means a lot. Means a lot. All right. Who are the Bucks going to take? Who are the Bucks going to take? Zion Young, I mean, guys, Vega Ioane, Zion Young. That's a great start. All right, I want to do the thing where I find out who the Vikings are taking, like, live on TV, but that would also kind of, like, slow down the stream that we have for probably 10 minutes waiting for them to come up and announce who they're taking, so I'm not going to do that. I see everybody is saying that the Bucks are taking Josiah Trotter. Is that confirmed? Buccaneers. Is Josiah Trotter confirmed? It is. Okay, Josiah Trotter confirmed. Okay. Josiah Trotter, let's go ahead and discuss this here. Not the biggest fan of the selection, to be honest. Now, I like Josiah Trotter for what he is as a prospect. Where I had Josiah Trotter on my board is lower than 45, and I mean, guys, this is just not exactly. This is just not a selection where I'm in love with, I would say. Just because I think Josiah Trotter is a limited player in terms of what he's going to be able to do. Now, Josiah Trotter, his game, I would say, kind of resembles his old man, where Josiah Trotter, he's going to be a good run-stuffing linebacker, which those players are certainly needed, and if you can, have him work behind, Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey and even Ruben Payne, I like the vision of a player like this in your front seven, but I can't say I'm the biggest Josiah Trotter guy, and that's I just trying to figure out where I had him on my board. I'm just not a Josiah Trotter guy, man. I mean, I don't think he's a bad player. I really don't think he's a bad player, but he is very limited in coverage. I didn't know what his draft grade or his coverage grade was, but you can see on PFF a 47.9 coverage grade. He's a specific player is what I would say. He's going to be a player that you know what you're getting. There's not going to be any guessing as to the player you're getting in Missouri linebacker Josiah Trotter. So that is where I would say with that one. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens with Josiah Trotter. I hope that I hope that he's obviously a great player, but if you think that there's any capacity that this is going to be the Levante David replacement, boy, do we have some news for you. For reference, I have Josiah Trotter. I figured out where he was on the big board. I was looking around. I didn't know where I had him. Thought I had the general range. I had Josiah Trotter at player 82, and they take him at 46. So, he's a very specific usage player. But now, what I will say positively, let's talk about the nice things about Josiah Trotter here. Obviously, you guys can see where I have Ruben Payne, my number one player in the class. I can see the vision. I can actually see Josiah Trotter having reasonable success in Tampa because of the players that are in front of him. He's also, I will say that Josiah Trotter is also a tone setter, a player that if you are running towards him early in the game, and if you're in a big game, maybe against the 49ers, maybe against the Lions, and you want him to send a message to Christian McCaffrey or Jahmyr Gibbs, basically, hey, like, we're going to be here all day, we're a big physical team, Josiah Trotter's your guy. But if you need him to step up on 3rd and 8 in the biggest coverage play of the year, Josiah Trotter definitely not your guy. Apparently we have a trade. We do have a trade. The Steelers are going up. Okay, this is a weird trade here. There's some day 3 draft capital involved. Let's go ahead and do this on the screen here. All right, the Steelers are moving up from 53. Let me move the screen back over here. The Steelers are moving up from 53. It's 53, 135, and 237 for 47 and 249. So let's just go ahead and make that trade happen. Let me move the camera over so everybody can see it. This is the exact trade here. It's a 2-4 and a swap of 7s to move up 6 spots. That's what the trade is, to get the Steelers back on the clock. And I thought that there was a good chance that the Steelers traded up in the first round, because I thought if somebody falls, they have a lot of... I mean, the Steelers still have a lot of day 2 capital. They still have 76, they still have 85, they still have 99, and they still have 121. So I'm not surprised to see the Steelers trade up at all. The Steelers trade up and take Alabama wide receiver Jeremy Bernard. It's a good pick. That's a really good pick for the Steelers. I like this pick a lot for them. I certainly would have preferred like Omar Cooper last night and then go a different direction tonight, because I think Max Ihnator is certainly a project pick. But I do like this pick a lot for the Steelers. Jeremy Bernard, to me, is the exact type of player they need long-term in their offense. Michael Pittman is entering the 7th year of his career now. Jeremy Bernard is what I would say is a rock-solid player. I think he's a good second-round receiver. Reminds me a lot of Robert Woods. He's a high IQ guy, really good route runner, knows how to get open in zone coverage. I like Jeremy Bernard. So, Jeremy Bernard, good pick for the Steelers there at 47. All right. All right, baby. We're 1 pick away. Am I nervous? Hell yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. We're 1 pick away. There's a lot of good players available. Rob, I've said a lot. Well, I mean, the Falcons are up here. And by the way, I think that's actually a really good trade for the Steelers, to trade directly in front of Atlanta, because there is a wide receiver tier gap here between Chris Bell and Chris Brazzell. So I like that trade a lot for the Steelers to be able to go up and get Jeremy Bernard. Why am I so scared to shit on a team? Grow a pair. Appreciate it behind. I'm not really sure what I'm scared of. I don't know what that's even referring to. I've said a lot of things. I mean, did you see my reaction last night to the Vikings? That's certainly not afraid to discuss the opinion. But anyway, we'll see what happens here. The Falcons, we'll see. My dad actually texted me, who is the dream pick for us? Safety from Toledo is what I'm replying with. Grade A through F for Cassius Howe. I would personally give it, I'd give it an A. I like it. I would give it an A. Derek asks, what do you think of the Giants draft? I like it. They had Cade McDonald kind of stolen from them, but I like Arvell Reese, Maui Noah, Colton Hood, 3 good players. I like it a lot. All right, the Falcons pick is in. Just please don't be Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Come on. We're on the clock, baby. We're on the clock. I'm also kind of nervous that there's a chance that there was a lot of talks that like, oh, hey, guess what? The Vikings and Eagles, I'm not saying this, but there was talks about Jonathan Grenard's already an Eagle. Who did the Falcons take with the 48th pick? Who did they take? Come on. Who did they take? Who did they take? I see the pick is in, but who did they take? Come on. I'm trying to figure this out here. The Falcons select Clemson corner Avion Terrell. That's awesome for several reasons. Avion Terrell, for me, you guys can see where I have Avion Terrell. I had him at player 22 on the big board. Now, I said a lot of things last year about the Falcons trading next year's first round pick to, why would you trade next year's first round pick and all of that? But James Pierce on the field, obviously on the field, double-digit sacks, good player for them. Avion Terrell, close to a first-round caliber corner. And, of course, you have Jalen Walker. The Falcons' defense, I generally like where they're going. Although I did not like them trading away Ruka Roro. I thought that was pretty pointless. I thought that was a net negative move for them. But Avion Terrell, I like it. Good pick for him. And by the way, just for transparency, just because obviously, you can, if you are not aware, I guess now we will make you aware. Avion Terrell is AJ Terrell's younger brother. If you were just tuning into the draft season, you don't know, that's their younger brother. They didn't make this pick just to have the nepotism in the building. Avion Terrell is a great player, and at this point, I think he's actually one of the bigger draft steals. All right, baby, we're on the clock. We're on the clock. Man. All right, we're on the clock, baby. You guys know that this is... I'm going to ask the chat here this. ESPN's on commercial right now. Do I flip the phone over, not look at the screen, not look at the chat, and just wait till the pick is announced live? I'm extremely nervous here, guys. I am extremely nervous because we took Caleb Banks already. I don't know where I think I have to wait till the pick is announced for this one. Unfortunately, I feel like I have to. We got to take Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I feel like I have to go. All right, I see some wait for it live comments. If you are sending like a super chat or anything right now, I'll get to it, but I'm nervous, guys, because the Falcons are about to announce who they are taking live on TV. So we have a strenuous couple of minutes here. But I do love the pick for the Falcons. I actually think that is a really good steal for the Falcons. So I'm going to wait to figure out. I will rank the players that I would like here for the Vikings. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is far and away number one. If they can walk out of the draft with EMW and Caleb Banks, I will kind of like, hey, look, we took Caleb Banks at 49, EMW at 18. Great draft. That's great by the Vikings. But I'm nervous as hell, guys. I mean, you can see I'm tense. I'm ready. I'm nervous as hell. But I just need to send out a quick tweet. Avion Terrell. Let me go ahead and just pull this up here. Avion Terrell. And I'm not like seeing anything on my screen. I'm just simply tweeting it. I'm not seeing notifications. I'm directly at the screen here. I don't want any indication as to who we're taking. But man, am I nervous. I'm definitely sweating. I'm definitely sweating bullets here. I'll just kind of say that. I do see, I can see the chat like out of the corner of my eye, like in terms of like all of the chat rate. But in terms of what is being said, no idea. No idea. So, power rankings of players that I would like here. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, clearly number one. I actually want to go to my big board real quick. I have EMW at player 19. Player 19 would be tremendous value. If we walked out with the 19th best player in the class, and then if we had the 35th best player in the class, that's something I could get behind. So, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, by far number one. Let's see here. That's I mean, it's so like easy of a pick. And you know what's sad is I'm going to say this now. We're not going to draft him. Jermod McCoy is a little bit of an outlier because of the injury. So I'm not going to say, hey, Jermod McCoy should be the pick because I don't know the medicals. And I also, regarding Caleb Banks, I will talk about that. I trust the front office in terms of like, they know way more than I do. They feel way more comfortable. Somebody tweeted out per Claude or per one of those that apparently it's hard for Caleb Banks to reoccur the same foot injury. I feel like with Caleb Banks specifically that pick, because I'm assuming everybody saw my reaction last night that I wanted Dylan Thieneman or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who by the way is still on the board at pick 49. My reaction was, it's kind of like you're in a 1-2 count or an 0-2 count swinging for a home run when Dylan Thieneman is a good double in the gap would be the best way to describe that. So we are on the clock. Not looking at the chat. I'm just simply looking at my screen over here on the left, which has the PFF simulator. It has my big board. Emmanuel Pregnon. I mean, we have Donovan Jackson. Will Fries is kind of questionable last year, so can't say I'd hate that one. Although I don't think we're going to go there. Even Chris Bell, I could get behind the idea of Chris Bell. I mean, he's got the knee injury, but it's, trade alert. Whoa. Trade. I wonder how long you guys have actually known this. We're trading to Carolina. So we trade back 2 spots. All right. Trade it up. Okay. I'm looking at the chat now. All right. I'm looking at the chat now, guys. I'm looking at the chat now. We're good. The pick is in for the Panthers. All right. All right. All right, so, all right, I can look at the chat now. All right. Still nervous because the tension is still there. All right, what are people are saying trades? What are sorry about? The Panthers trade 49. Let's go ahead and do this here. 49. It's 49 and 159 for 51 and 196. Or what is it? 50. Sorry, 50. Hold on. I did a bad job of this. 51 and... Wait. Oh, Schefter worded it wrong. So it's 51 and 159 for 49 and 196. The way it worded it was like, we're going back 2 times. Like, we're giving up 159. Anyway, we're good. All right. Carolina taking Texas Tech defensive tackle Lee Hunter. All right, I like the pick for Carolina. Carolina takes Monroe Freeling last night. They take Lee Hunter tonight. If anything is proven, year over year, guys, you want to play meaningful football in January, you got to be big in the trenches. I like this pick for Carolina. I think that the Panthers are having what some people would certainly say is an unsexy draft right now, but let's just go to the big board here for reference. Lee Hunter is a player I had. Hold on here. Let's figure out where I had Lee Hunter. I don't think I was that low on Lee Hunter. I remember watching the tape and I was like, where's Lee Hunter? If anybody... Anyway, we'll figure this part out. But I had him at player 56. So pretty that aligns with the value there. So I like the pick for the Panthers. They, of course, took Monroe Freeling last night. Now, I was a little lower on Monroe Freeling, so about 10 spots lower. But look, you're bringing in players that should start for your team for the next couple of years. Lee Hunter, very, very big boy. 6'4", 330. And when you have Lee Hunter and Derek Brown, I almost blanked on the name because, again, we're in the process of naming like 300 names in draft weekend. Derek Brown and Lee Hunter in the middle of your defense, I like that for the Carolina Panthers quite a bit. So I like the process there. And they also signed Bobby Brown last year in free agency, who is also 330 pounds. So if you want to do anything against the Panthers, you got to run. I mean, you're not going to run the ball up the middle. So I like the pick. All right. I saw a couple super chats tossed in within there, so I'm going to go ahead and get to those, which I do appreciate. I'm sweating bullets, though, guys, because we're back on the clock in a minute. Let's keep it rolling here, though. I just want to get to a couple of super chats. DC sent in a big 20 piece. DC, I'm sorry that I didn't get that on the screen. It doesn't unfortunately show up on my screen, but I appreciate that. Appreciate the 20 piece, brother. He says, did Bane fall last night solely because of arm length? There was a lot of things about like a car incident that happened a couple of years ago, but teams had known about it. I don't think the media just finding out and publicizing it a week and a half before the draft made him fall 15 spots. I can't answer it. To me, he was my number 1 player in the class. He's a great player. Nate says, watch live. We will watch live. Appreciate it. And Yiger says, as a Hawks fan, I'm beyond happy for the Rams took Ty. I would be too if I were a Seahawks fan, because you are in a win now mode. The Rams are in a win now mode, and you took a player that certainly was not a win now player. Guys, I'm nervous as hell. I will say this about the Vikings here. I did not like, I know that the Panthers did not take Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, but I don't love the process of going back 2 spots to jeopardize the chance of drafting Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. So I can't say I'm a big fan of that. The pick is in for the New York Jets. All right, let's go here. Who are the Jets taking? The pick is in for the Jets. And again, when we are on the clock, just, Rob, please draft Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. That's all I'm asking. Oh, that's all I'm asking. Do not overthink this. Do not overthink this, Rob. All right. Let's keep it going here. All right, let's see. Does anybody know who the Jets took. I'm still trying to figure that part out. Once I know who the Jets have selected, then the phone goes down, everything goes off, and I'm not looking at the chat until the Jets take corner D'Angelo Pons from Indiana. Good pick. I like that a lot. D'Angelo Pons, guys, this is a really good player. As you can see here, this is going to be the biggest thing to note with D'Angelo Pons. 5'9", 173. What I will say, it's a good summarization here. Pons plays with clear passion and urgency every snap. D'Angelo Pons is very much, if you've ever played, pickup basketball, the guy that is in your face, like hand right there the entire time. Just an absolute pest to go against. That is D'Angelo Pons. I like D'Angelo Pons a lot. Had him at player 44 on the board, as you guys can see. And I'm getting nervous here, just because we're on the clock. But D'Angelo Pons, like I said, great player. And the one thing that if you heard throughout the draft process was if this guy was 6'1", he'd be a top 10 pick in this class, a top 15 pick in this class. I love this pick for the New York Jets. And like I said, my biggest thing with the Jets, they've rebounded the draft. If you would have said at the beginning they walk out of the first 2 rounds with everybody they've selected, I'm still not going to justify David Bailey over Ruben Bain, but Kenyon Sadiq, Omar Cooper, D'Angelo Pons, I like what the Jets are doing. So I think there's a question to be had. Like you have Jarvis Brownlee, who was a really good pickup for the Jets last year. I mean, I don't know why the Titans decided to get rid of Jarvis Brownlee, but there's a question of having 2 smaller corners in D'Angelo Pons and Jarvis Brownlee, but in the sense of bringing in good players for your football team, the Jets are doing exactly that. So, good pick for the New York Jets. All right, Minnesota, we're back in the clock. Oh boy. All right, I got to crack my neck. I don't know if you guys can be able to hear it, but I'm nervous. I'm very, very nervous. So, let's go here. Safety from Toledo. Rob, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it, buddy. We can hear the draft coverage. The Jets just took D'Angelo Pons on ESPN. Phone is off. Turned over. We are on the clock. I will, if we trade back again, I guess I'll find out in real time. There was talks that the Vikings could trade back multiple times tonight, but I didn't like the process of trading back 2 spots just in case somebody took Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, a player who I have in my top 20. If we do take EMW here, which, by the way, should very clearly be the pick, then I walk out of this draft feeling monumentally better. Not even a question, monumentally better. So, I'm going to go full camera with this because I know people are going to want to clip. It was clipped last night. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't do, I would say, something dumb tonight. By the way, if you guys are enjoying, please like the stream because this could get interesting very soon. We'll see. We're 430 likes. Let's get it up to 500, guys. 4 new members as well. Appreciate everybody becoming a member tonight. Appreciate your guys' continued support. And it's been a great draft season. And the Vikings pick is in. Vikings pick is in, baby. The Vikings pick is in. All right, I'm nervous. Just Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Don't overthink it. The pick is already in. That was a fast pick is in, Rob. I hope, Rob, buddy. Come on. This is not hard, guys. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, he's right there, top 20 player in the class. Just come on. The pick is in. The stage is purple. And the Vikings will be up again at pick 82. So we'll see what happens there. But am I nervous? Yeah, 1,000,000%. I'm extremely nervous here. I mean, you have a clear need at safety. Jermod McCoy I'd be fine with, but if you don't walk out of this pick with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren or Jermod McCoy, I would say it's not a great pick. I mean, more than likely, at least, I don't know who you would go with here. I would be fine with Kyle Lewis if we wanted to go there, but I mean, it's just such a slam dunk. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Caleb Banks, great draft. Come on, Brian, announce it. Brian O'Neill's announcing. Here we go. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. That's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, he's a good player. He's actually gonna be a really good player in Brian Flores' defense. I had Jake Golday. Let's see where I had him on the big board here. I had Jake Golday at player 70. He's a run and chase linebacker. He's a good player to have in the middle of your defense. I make no mistake about it. I certainly would prefer Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. But in terms of his just length, athleticism, that overall profile, I like the pick. But I would give it, if I had to give it a draft grade, I would personally give the Jake Golday pick probably a B-. If I had to give it an initial grade, I'm just not a fan of drafting a far inferior player to Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. But look, Jake Golday, it's hard to get, I would say, too upset about a player and a team that selects two, I almost lost my voice there, two players in your front seven with the first two picks that at their best will significantly improve the team. I can at least see the vision with where the Vikings are going. Again, certainly would have preferred Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, but it's not the worst pick. I'll say that. It's certainly not the worst pick. People are saying Omega Cope, it's not the worst pick. So, Tortured Soul, yeah, I mean, I've been through a lot, guys. Been through a lot as a team here. People are saying Vikings Cope. People are going to say Cope. Jake Golday is still a good player. Again, I gave it a B-. I didn't give it an A. I didn't give it an A. It's certainly not an F. It's not an F. But gave it a B-. So. I mean, guys, I don't like it over Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. That is very, I don't like that, but EMW is better. But EMW has been better than every draft prospect available for probably the past, pretty much every pick tonight, maybe outside of Denzel Boston, Zion Young, and a few others. So you could use that logic with every player that's been selected tonight. Again, outside of a couple of players. But Jake Golday and Brian Flores' defense, it's one I understand where the team is headed. So, but EMW, I will agree that EMW would have been a home run of a selection. So. All right. Definitely would have preferred EMW, but like I said, B- pick. But I will say in the grand scheme of things, to walk out of the first two rounds with Caleb Banks and Jake Golday, I would say that is a little underwhelming. I would certainly say that. But super chat here from Heck Pup, appreciate it. He says, I tuned out, then tuned back in, and the Lions got an edge, and the Dolphins got Rodriguez, the guy everybody seemed to be talking about. Yes, that's a great pick for the Dolphins. I love the Jacob Rodriguez selection. All right, the Packers are on the clock. The Packers are taking South Carolina corner Brandon Cisse with the 52nd pick. So Brandon Cisse, we're back to coverage of the whole team. It's not just me about the Vikings. Good value here, I would say. Player 52 on my board, they select him at player 52. The biggest thing about Brandon Cisse is he is a good physical corner he's a good physical corner, good man-to-man corner that's also good in run defense. In terms of I would say a second-round caliber corner, Brandon Cisse is your guy. There were some people that were higher on Brandon Cisse this draft process. Some people would regularly put him in that 20 to 32 range in mock drafts. Some people even had him in that range on their big boards. I would say that was a little bit of projection within that for Brandon Cisse in terms of the player that they hope that he can get ceiling-wise. But I think Cisse is a rock-solid starting corner. I like that pick for the Packers. B+, A- range. Maybe, I mean, there's going to be people that are like, oh, you inflate your grades. Maybe it's a B because it's a solid and not like a home run. It's a good pick. It's a good pick for the Packers. It really is. So it's good. It's hard to be upset about that. All right. You might not drink, but this round's on me. I don't drink. But I do appreciate that, Casey. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate you supporting. Appreciate you being here. All right. Let's go Chargers. Get Pregnon. Dude, yeah, if the Chargers can get Emmanuel Pregnon at pick 55, that would be incredibly great value for them. I didn't tweet out the reaction tonight of Jake Golday. Not the biggest fan of Jake. I mean, let me rephrase that. Not a huge fan of going with Jake Golday over Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. But I can see the vision with this selection. So, I'll say that. So, Jake Golday, welcome to the team. All right. I appreciate the Vikings making bad picks so my birds can prosper. Don't you guys have a quarterback problem? Anyway. All right. Just watch a sample of Lee Hunter as a Panthers fan. I'm excited for this pick. So right now, I can't say I have one of these bad boys handy, but if I had like a brick right here, picture this remote being a brick, that's Lee Hunter in the middle of your defense, along with Bobby Brown and Derek Brown. Like just those, they're just, if bricks were on the screen right now, that's what you selected. FYM says, hopefully Rob has his bags packed and ready to go. Already given up on Rob. I think I am going to start to do this thing this year where, just because I want to see how these age, where I want to put my picks up against like the picks the Vikings actually make, and see how they age. And I see some Birds fans chirping in the chat. I'll address in a minute. But I would like to see where, or the picks that I would make whenever we were on the board and see how they age over time. I would have taken Dylan Thieneman in the first round this year. And the problem is that I didn't know Emmanuel McNeil-Warren was going to be here. I don't know who I would have honestly taken in the second. But given that he was here, because I wouldn't go back-to-back safety. But anyway. The Colts, who did the Colts take? It's actually about to be announced. Looks like McAfee's announcing the selection. Who do they take? Does anybody know? Do we know who the Colts are taking? All right, Pat's typing up Pittsburgh. He's a Pittsburgh guy. Makes sense. I just wanted to... Does anybody know who the Colts are taking? Is the Colts confirmed C.J. Allen? I see a lot of C.J. Allen. Indianapolis Colts selecting C.J. Allen. Good pick. Good pick. Good pick. Good value. Good value for the Colts. That is a great selection for the Colts. Now, here's why. Right now, or should we say 5 minutes ago, prior to the Colts selecting C.J. Allen, if you guys are not aware, the Colts linebacking core is, or the inside linebackers rather, Austin Ajake, John Bullock, and Joseph Vaughn. I mean, it genuinely a list of names. Just a list of names. I love this pick for Indy. They get a good player on day 2 of the draft. So C.J. Allen, good pick for them. I had C.J. Allen at player 45. I was a little lower on consensus than on C.J. Allen. But overall, I like the pick for the Colts. I think that's a really, Chris Ballard gets a lot of heat for the selections he's made, rightfully so at times, but that's a clear team need, and that is, in my opinion, clearly drafting a player at a plus value, meaning they're selecting later than where the player is on the big board. So good process by the Colts. It really is. The Eagles will select Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers at pick 54. So I was a little lower on Eli Stowers. But look, Jalen Hurts needs all the help. I'm kidding. I know I'm not going to go down that route. But I like this pick for the Eagles. They will certainly have a vision for Eli Stowers to walk out of the draft with Mekhi Lemon and with Eli Stowers. That's helping your franchise quarterback. That's helping your offense. And Eli Stowers is certainly not going to be your typical, I would say, tight end that Eagles fans are used to. Although Zach Ertz was definitely a receiving tight end. But my point is, he's not like a kind of like hand in the dirt guy, if you will. And He's definitely a big receiver, but I like Eli Stowers a lot for who he is as a player. I would say have reasonable expectations, but he's definitely, if there was a pro comparison usage-wise, it would be Mike Gesicki. You're not going to see Eli Stowers help with the tush push, would probably be the best analysis there. So I do like that landing spot for Eli Stowers. So there's a couple super chats that I want to get to here. Jackman Hunter says, Chargers fan here and diehard Justin Herbert fan. I hope we get Pregnon to keep my GOAT protected. Huge fan of your work. I would like that as well. I would very much like that as well. So that would be a great pick by the Chargers. Guys, if the Chargers can walk out of the draft with Akeem Mesidor and Emmanuel Pregnon, they're doing a good job. They're doing a great job if they can do that. So, all right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's keep it rolling. Going Emmanuel Pregnon at this point is incredible value. Tyler, I missed your super chat, but I appreciate it. Tyler says, Packers need a corner or I'm pissing and crying. Buddy, you got your corner. It was a great value pick. Great. I liked it. I like that. I like that. And I missed a super chat earlier from M60 Priest who said Pittsburgh got to trade up and get Denzel Boston. They still got Jeremy Bernard. Good selection for the Steelers to trade up and still get a good player. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let me go back over here. And like I said, guys, I do appreciate everybody being here. And we're closing in on 250,000 subscribers. So I'm very excited for where we are. All right, let's keep it going, baby. Let's keep it going. But, I mean, if we can trade up to get Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, guys, now, I mean, we'd be talking about Jake Gaudet, Caleb Banks, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Chargers. I mean, this one should be a slam dunk. Emmanuel Pregnon. I don't mean to be that guy, but there is absolutely zero reason not to. Whoa, trade. Oh, wait. Yes, trade. The Patriots are on the clock. The Patriots are on the clock. So we'll see. Hold on. I got to go change one thing here real quick so I can see the chat. The Patriots are on the clock. Maybe you guys already let me know. Did you guys already let me know this? There is a chance that you guys did. I mean, there's a chance that I'm slacking. Let's take a look here. All right, I got to figure out what's going on. I got to... What are the Patriots doing? What are the Patriots doing, guys? The Patriots have traded. Here's the trade. 63. It's 63... 131 and 202 for 55. Direct. I don't like this at all for the Chargers. Why would you get out of Emmanuel Pregnon? Why? I don't like that at all. Do we know who the Patriots selected? Does anybody know? Do we know for sure? Patriots trade up to pick 55. I'm seeing a couple tweets here. Let me just confirm. They take Illinois edge Gabe Akis. It's a good pick. That's a really good pick, guys. Gabe Akis is a player. So there, if you are on Twitter, you follow me on Twitter, you may see this resurfaced a little bit. I tweeted a clip of Gabe Akis a couple of months ago when I was watching his tape. He is a bully. This is a great pick for the Patriots. I love this selection. You give up 131 and 202 to get Gabe Akis. Great job. Absolutely great job by the Patriots to go up and get a player of that caliber. So, I love what they're doing, man. That's a really, really great pick by the Patriots. That's at minimum an A grade for the Patriots, I would say. Heavy-handed pass rusher. You're gonna know Gabe Akis towards the end of next year. AJ says, why I can't watch Herbert on the ground again. Yeah, it's obnoxious. That Emmanuel Pregnon's there, and you trade trade back for what they did. I don't like that at all for the Chargers. I don't like it, but that's a great trade by the Patriots. So I love that, and I need to fire this off here. The Patriots trading up for Gabe Akis is a tremendous move. Why do I think Emmanuel McNeill-Warren is falling? Guys, I have no idea. I genuinely do not have a clue as to why he's falling. He's such a good player. I don't have a direct answer for you as to why Emmanuel McNeill-Warren is falling. I can't answer that one. I don't know. By the way, we're close to... Guys, we're at 496 likes. I'm sorry, but... Like four, and then we're at 500, and then I'll stop. Oh, Jesus, guys. No. The Vikings are trading Jonathan Grenard. And Grenard gets a 4-year... Oh, Jesus, God. Why? Like, why? There's the clip. There's the clip. The Vikings get 2 threes for Jonathan Grenard. They get pick 98 and a 3 next year. There's the trade that everybody had been talking about. The Eagles give Jonathan Grenard a 4-year, $100 million contract with $50 million guaranteed for 2 threes. Let me put me on the screen that way, so just whenever everybody clips it, let's just go ahead and do this here. 2 threes for Jonathan Grenard. Like if you are the Jets and you select David Bailey number 2 overall, where do you hope that he can become the player that Jonathan Grenard was in 2024? A guy that was a second team All-Pro, double-digit sacks, and you give him away for 2 threes because you don't want to pay him with 2 years left on his deal. That's bad. You know, this team is so incompetent at times. I absolutely hate it. I absolutely hate it as a Vikings fan. Eagles, tremendous move by Howie. Tremendous move by Howie. I absolutely hate this move for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not about to start crying. I'm just sitting here just sulking. Jonathan Grenard for 2 threes. There we go. That's a winning move, guys. That is a winning move to trade Jonathan Grenard, a premier player, for 2 third-round picks. Great job. You pass on Dylan Thieneman. You pass on Emmanuel McNeill-Warren. Great job, guys. We're really doing good. We're really doing a great job so far. I like Jake Goldie, by the way. I do like the projection with him in the defense, but let me just read this off here just for you guys if you are not aware, because everybody knows the Vikings need a safety, and it was just, hey, I'm doing a mock draft. Let me just put Dylan Thieneman or McNeill-Warren at pick 18 just to put them there. Just for reference, if you guys are not aware, the Vikings safety room right now is Josh Metellus, Theo Jackson, and Jay Ward. Technically, they released Harrison Smith. That was for financial reasons, but Harrison's obviously not going anywhere. Even if he wants to come back, they'll sign him. No big deal. Technically, he's not on the roster right now. But their safety room right now: Josh Metellus, Jay Ward, Theo Jackson. Great, just tremendous move, guys. Okay, the Jags just took Nate Borkircher. Why? That's just why are the Jags? Why are the Jags taking from Nate Borkircher from A&M? They take a run blocking tight end at 58 overall. That's or 56 overall rather. I don't like that pick for the Jags at all. Just being fully transparent. I mean, I know they kind of need a tight end, but Max Clare is better. Sam Roush is better. Michael Trigg, there's some off the field concerns there. You don't want to take him over Michael Trigg. I completely understand that one. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say the Jags just probably took maybe the 7th best tight end available at pick 56. I don't like that at all for the Jags. That's just... Oh, the Vikings, the actual Vikings page just tweeted out. Oh, so we actually gave up the 244th pick as well. There's a good chance. There's a good chance that we see Jonathan Greenard make a big play next year when it matters. And that we see Jonathan Greenard, in January for Philly making a big play. By the way, the Jags are kind of like, I can't believe they took him with the top 60 pick. I actually cannot believe that. All right, the Bears pick is in. There's some super chats here. I do appreciate it. This is Nesquick said, you're getting more on this super chat than the Vikings got for Greenard. He sent a $5 super chat. I appreciate it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. FYM says, send Rob to the gulag now. Biggest fan from Germany. Joshua, appreciate it. Thank you. That's it. Mountain Man says, what was the 49ers grade? Love the content. Derjuan Stribling was not a good pick. I'm sorry. I had him at player like 97. Is Kwesi still running the Vikings? Evidently. This franchise is just absolutely... I think that at times this franchise is legitimately allergic to making good decisions. Why? Like 2 third-round picks for Greenard. There's a tremendous process in terms of how to get better. You have a clear, great pass rusher. The Eagles lose Jalen Phillips, but they bring in Jonathan Greenard. I would do a lot of things to have Howie Roseman as my team's general manager. That would be awesome. To be able to have Howie Roseman as the team's GM. All right, who do the Bears take here? Let's see who the Bears take. I'd be eager to hear this. The Bears have done a lot of great things over the past couple of years. You know why? Because they don't overthink simple things. They don't make bad decisions. Who do the Bears take? Does anybody know? This is the 57th pick, by the way. So there's like something where like whoever is this draft pick gets like the lifetime. They get the lifetime, like Heinz ketchup thing or whatever it is. The Bears will select Iowa center Logan Jones with the 57th pick. You know what they have? They have Drew Dolman retire, and you know what they do? They replace him with a good center prospect. It's not hard. You draft Dylan Thieneman in the first round. You draft Logan Jones in the second round. Gee, good players fall in your lap. You've positions of need. Maybe you should fill those positions of need. Dude, it's just unbelievable. Good draft pick by the Bears, by the way. Logan Jones, he was a player that I was higher on. I thought he was he's a good developmental center. You traded for Garrett Bradbury this offseason. This is a player you can legitimately develop for a year. You can have him sit. You can have him spot start along the interior offensive line this year if you really need him to. Logan Jones, good player. I had him at player 63 on my board. I'm not going to sit here and complain about what in theory is a 6-spot reach, although if you look at other people's big boards, they probably had him around the 80 to 90 range. Logan Jones, to me, good player, really good run blocker. There's going to be runs that he will create or runs he will lead at points in his career, probably with Kyle Monangai running behind him, where he absolutely mauls somebody in space. He's a really good run blocking center. Just unbelievable, man. I mean, like, you don't need to overcomplicate the process. Bradbury's not our future center, agree. I was trying to say that he's a development maybe 1 year behind Bradbury. I would say everybody knows that Bradbury's not the long-term answer there. How do you feel about the rest of the NFC North picks compared to the Vikings? A lot better. I mean, you don't need to overcomplicate things, guys. There's times as simple as it is, run the ball. Take what's in front of you. And people are like, I've sent out a tweet of like, hey, the Vikings made a bad decision to trade Jonathan Grenard because they're saving money to get 2/3 back. Guys, it's Jonathan Grenard we're talking about. When Jonathan Grenard has 2 sacks next year in the playoffs for Philly, next to Jalen Carter, next to Jordan Davis in that defense, and you're going to tell me, oh, but guess what? We took the 148th best prospect on the board because we needed to save money because we couldn't pay him. Yeah, I'm glad that we did that. It's a joke. It's a joke. So, all right. Somebody said the 49ers, did they trade the pick? I saw something about the Browns. The Browns have traded up. Here we go. All right. The Browns have traded up. Pick 58. Let's go ahead and do this trade here. It's okay. So they're at pick 70. They trade 70 and 58 for 107 and 152. Wait, where's 152? Hold on. The Browns have traded. So somehow I missed a trade with the 49ers, or PFF doesn't have the trade in here. Apparently, the Browns are also getting back pick 152. Let's take a look here. Does anybody have the exact trade details? Browns 49ers trade. I just want to get the details first. The pick is already in for the Browns. Okay, so apparently it is 152. Oh, the 152 is the 5th from Dallas for D winners. That's why it is not on the screen. So you guys can't see this, but it is the Cowboys have picked 152. It's not on the screen because it's from the D winners trade that happened probably an hour ago. So that's why. We're just going to go ahead and make this trade here. So the Browns are up. Who are the Browns taking? Who are they taking here? Hold on. They're about to announce it now. I'll just let this play live. That's insult to injury. That is insult to injury. Good pick. Good pick. I didn't know who they were taking. Find out live. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Great pick. Guys, the Browns are doing a good thing. They're having a great draft. Good for them. EMW, Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, Spencer Fano. Tremendous draft by the Browns. They're absolutely killing it. Good for Cleveland, man. Hayden says, I couldn't have asked for a better draft. Yeah, you couldn't have. Great job for you. Happy for you, man. Texans pick is in. All right. The Texans, I love what they're doing so far. Keelan Rutledge, Caden McDonald. Jermon McCoy is what I'm willing to kind of dismiss here. Like, just because I don't know what the exact, like, how serious is this? And that's one I mean, if it is something that is really, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna like get into that one, if you will. The Titans just traded up to pick 60. The Bears traded back. The Bears traded back. Hold on, I want to get this exact from Schefter here. Where is it? Why is it? There we go. All right, so the Bears traded back. It's pick 60 to... Oh, wait, shoot. Wait, I got to wait for that. Sorry. We got to wait for the Texans pick first. I don't know who the Texans took. They take Michigan tight end Marlon Klein. Marlon Klein is actually, he's a really interesting prospect. I think that this is definitely a reach for who he is, but what I would, or for the player that he is, but what I would say about Marlon Klein is he's going to be a player DeMeco Ryans likes a lot. He's a blocking tight end, and he's a raw player. There's development upside. I generally am not the biggest fan of taking players that have like development upside, just because a lot of the time you need actual versus potential, and potential can only get you so far. But the player that he is will benefit the Texans' run game significantly, and we saw a lot of 12 and 13 personnel last year increase, so I do like where the Texans and Nick Caserio's head is when making this selection. So, like that for the Texans. Anyway, the Titans trade up. It is pick 69 and 144 for 60 to the Chicago Bears. So the Titans are on the clock. All right. Josh, as big Texans fan, do you think we can win the Super Bowl? Josh, quite honestly, I would be surprised. But the biggest thing here that we're going to have to like box check off here is your quarterback in big games. That's going to be the biggest one, obviously, because of what happened this year. And if we have 4 interceptions and a half, you're not going to win. You're not going to get there in the first place. But I like the moves your team is making. All right. I love being... Shady says, I love being an Eagles fan. Howie been spoiling us since 2021. You guys are in the middle of a generational run for that. Jack, appreciate it. Deshaun Watson has a chance to do the funniest thing ever. That would be, come back and be good for the Browns and then not have them take a first-round quarterback next year. But anyway. Mountain Man, appreciate it. He says, what are the 49ers doing falling behind in the division? I'm not a fan of exactly what they're doing right now. I would agree with you. Casey says, I'm sorry, brother. Tried to be nice and you trashed my quarterback. It is what it is. Buy yourself something nice. What did I guess, did I make a Jalen Hurts comment? I like Jalen Hurts more than I would say most of the media does. Jalen Hurts gets a lot of slander is what I've kind of said this. So I feel like I'm a little higher on Jalen Hurts than other people are. All right, we're back. How do the Vikings manage to mess up every part of this process? Yeah, it's a good question. Titans are taking linebacker Anthony Hill. Is that confirmed, Ethan? Ethan, if this is confirmed, and I see you comment again, we're gonna go by your word. Because I did not see this yet, I'm confirming now. But if that is the Titans pick, then I like that selection a lot for them. Good call, Ethan. Good call. Shout out, Ethan. Good call. So Anthony Hill is a player that I like a lot. I think it's a great landing spot for him. And why I like this selection in particular is Anthony Hill is a player right here. This is what I want to focus on here. The missed tackle rate at just 4.5%. Generally, if it's under 7%, that's pretty good. But what I would say about Anthony Hill is he's a player that he's going to thrive in a Robert Saleh sister, a team coached by Robert Saleh, because Robert Saleh throughout his entire career has made a lot out of linebackers that are not exactly the best before or after he gets there. Fred Warner's the exception of exceptions because Fred is the linebacker of this era. But Robert Saleh, it does a good job of coaching linebackers. He knows what he likes, and if Robert Saleh is essentially pounding his fist on the table for Anthony Hill Jr., I think this is a great landing spot, and I like this pick a lot for Tennessee at pick 60. They go up and get them, and I am completely fine with that. They took Keldrick Falk last night, which I'm not a big Keldrick Falk guy to begin with, but I think Anthony Hill is a player that was a little over-scrutinized at times in the pre-draft process. One of the biggest things with Anthony Hill that I would say was people... I'll show you here. So Anthony Hill is 240 pounds or 238 pounds. Whenever you are that big, people want kind of that knockback power, that Josiah Trotter power, if you will, right? But what I would say regarding Anthony Hill is you're not going to see Anthony Hill in the highlight reel like Ray Lewis. He's not that type of player, but he brings guys to the ground far more often than he doesn't. So he does a good job in terms of getting guys in the ground, doing what he needs to do, doing his job. I like it. I think it's a great fit. Robert Saleh, I like what the Titans are doing overall. Carnell Tate, Keldrick Falk is, but I trust what their vision is. And Anthony Hill, I like it. Drew Bob says Tennessee may go worst to first. I wouldn't be surprised. Scroll down for the next few picks. Got you. Sorry about that. Rams, Broncos, Chargers, Seahawks. Ethan again. Appreciate it, Ethan. Ethan, MVP of the chat. The Rams are taking Max Clare. Okay, I like it. Max Clare, this is a player that if... I like this pick for several reasons, because last year as the Rams started to increase the tight end usage, the usage of 12 and 13 personnel, I didn't think the tight ends they were regularly getting involved were individually that great. I didn't think that they were, not that they were like negatives to the team. I just didn't think that individually they were great players. I thought they were getting maximized success in the Rams situation. Max Clare is a really, really good player. I think he's been underrated this draft process. I think because of the rise of Eli Stowers, and I think because of Kenyon Sadiq running the insane 40, that Max Clare was kind of pushed down the board. What I wrote down, I actually have a late second on Max Clare. I wrote down that Max Clare is a fluid, natural athlete that is clearly a better pass catcher than run blocker. That's fine, especially with a defending MVP quarterback. He has soft hands, 2 drops in 2025, very clean transitions into his routes, ability to uncover in space. His receiving production was limited at Ohio State, but that was largely because of Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate in front of him, and I don't think that's a reflection on his talent. I personally believe that I personally believe once he steps into a larger role, he will be a really good player. I like him a lot. There's some concerns about him as a run blocker, at least early on in his career, but I saw some comparisons from Max Clare, not exact, but extremely raw, to somebody like Trey McBride, and I could at least understand where those comparisons were coming from. So, this is a great point here by my ex-wife. Didn't they draft a tight end in the second round last year? They did. That was Terrence Ferguson. I wasn't the biggest Terrence Ferguson guy, but bit of a youth movement for the Rams. Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen. Somebody's going to be the odd man out now because of Terrence Ferguson and Max Clare being there. So we'll see. Tyler Higbee's also, of course, there. They're not going to carry 5 tight ends, so we'll see what they do. But we'll see. Tom with the super chat says, Skull. I've had better days, Tom. I've had better days, brother. Had better days, but we'll be back. We'll be good at some point, hopefully. Trading Jonathan Grenard's a choice, by the way. A very, very poor choice, but it's a choice nonetheless. Do appreciate the super chat, Tom. I'm just making sure. I don't want to miss any super chats, so I'm just making sure that I'm going through them. That's all. Just making sure that I don't want to miss any. And that's kind of what I do when I pull up the big screen, if you will. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing any. So, all right, the Broncos are up on the clock. No, somebody said Buffalo trades up. Oh, the Bills traded up. Okay, that makes sense because the Bills traded back a bunch of times last night. So they trade 66 and 182 to go up 4 spots. I actually really like this value for Buffalo. Guys, if the Bills go up and if they go up and take Emmanuel Pregnon, that is Brandon Beane, I've said a lot of things, buddy. But that's a really good process if you can go up and get Emmanuel Pregnon in front of the Chargers. Brandon Beane, I have hope for you. This is a layup. This is you traded back all those times last night. Do it. Brandon Beane, buddy, I've said a lot of things. Do it. Go up and get him. Come on, this is not a hard decision. Ethan, I'm looking for your confirmation. There's a Patriots fan in here asking to talk about the Patriots draft. I loved the process to go up and get Gabe Backus. Thought that was tremendous. So I thought that was awesome, and I also thought they drafted a good offensive lineman last night in Caleb Lomu. I worry about his anchor, but I really like Gabe Backus. All right. The pick is in for the Bills. Buffalo, Pregnon. This is your guy. This is your guy right here, Buffalo. Come on. Just take him and don't overthink this one. He's right there. Do we have a confirmation for the Bills? The Bills pick is in. And if they do it in front of the Chargers, that is a great job. Great job by Brandon Beane. Appreciate the update, Ethan. Tom just sent a super chat. He said, in B-Flow I trust. I don't not trust Brian Flores regarding the Jake Golday selection. I just didn't like the Grenard trade and everything. So Ethan has it. The Bills trade up. Oh, Brandon Beane, what are we doing, brother? They trade up to get Davis and Igbinosun. All right, so look, I like Davis and Igbinosun a lot. I do. I don't think you had to trade up to get him 4 spots. I'm not going to kill the trade up to go, oh, wow, you missed pick 182. I'm not going to kill that. I'm not going to, slander, oh, wow, you missed out on that pick because of this. To me, this is just, why? Emmanuel Pregnon's right there. If you guys are not aware, the Bills' top 4 guards on their roster, the only 4 guards on their roster are Alec Anderson, Austin Corbett, Osiris Torrance, and Nick Broker. And Pregnon, a top 30 player, is right there. Why? Just why? Now, Davis and Igbinosun is a player I actually like a lot. So I don't want to slander that as much as it's just like, why would you not go up and get a better player? I had Davis and Igbinosun at player 71. So the value certainly is not, it's not bad. And I do like Davis a lot as a corner. He's a very physical corner. The one big thing with Igbinosun is this may seem a little hyperbolic, but I unfortunately am not joking here with this one regarding Davis and Igbinosun. In 2024, he had 16 penalties. 1-6. Not 1, not 6, 16. Finished his career with 30 penalties. But he brought it down to 5 penalties this year. He did not allow a touchdown in 2025. He is a press man corner. So, I like the selection. I just don't like it over Emmanuel Pregnon. But we'll see what the Bills do here. I just thought that Pregnon, especially in Buffalo with James Cook, the leading rusher last year, would have been such a home run of a selection. So, we'll see what happens. But I do like Davis and Igbinosun as a corner. I thought he improved in 2025 significantly from where he was in 2024. But we'll see where it goes from here. He is very penalty prone, says Chad. That was my one problem. He's a hell of a player for the Buckeyes. Agree. All right. What are the Niners doing? We traded out of Omar Cooper and DMW. I'm not a fan of that either. It's just I'm not a fan of drafting out of good players. Dallas Turner lover, good call. Member of the channel says Dallas Turner's time to shine. It's now your time, Dallas. You're right. It's definitely now your time. I do like Dallas Turner had a good second half of the season, by the way. But so the Seahawks, by the way, are probably going to be, or they're probably going to have a chance to draft Jermod McCoy. Somebody asked, Jack asks where EMW was in my board. Let's go ahead and move this around here so you can see it. I'll show you here. I had Emmanuel McNeil Warren at player 19. Player 19. Would have liked my team to take him, but anyway. All right. The Chargers are up. Guys, very simple. You already drafted Akeem Mesidor. You're a Jim Harbaugh team. You love trenches. You love beefy players. There's one staring you in the face. Why? Just take him. Just take him. The pick is in for the Chargers. Ethan, who do we have? All right. He's right there. Guys, Emmanuel Pregnon, right there. What is the Jermod McCoy floor? Guys, I don't know. Because I don't know how... There's probably some NFL teams that are like, hey, we're not even going to touch this until like pick 190 or the middle of the 6th round. I don't know. Because NFL teams at times are incredibly just dramatic at times about injuries. And I think at times it's like, hey, that you're in the middle of the 5th round. Are you going to take a guy that's 197th on the big board that has a clean slate of health, or are you going to take a risk on a guy that's top 20 on a big board because he had an injury? I don't know what Jermod McCoy's floor is. The Chargers pick is in. It's actually getting announced. I might just let it play out. We'll see. I don't see Ethan confirming with the... Ethan, I'm not your best source. I'm not going to... It's not your best source, Ethan. It's not your best source. It's got to be Pregnon, guys. All right, the Chargers draft room, they're showing it live on screen. They're showing the Chargers war room. Still waiting for the confirmation of where the Chargers are going. It should be Emmanuel Pregnon. I would also be fine with Jennings Dunker. That would also be a good pick for them. Just get some beef. Here we go, the Chargers pick. I'm actually just going to let it play out here. Let's go ahead and just let this play out. They have somebody coming up to announce the pick. Here we go. Oh, hold on. I don't want this to be like a 5-minute story. All right, do we have a source here? All right, we have somebody hyping up the crowd for the Chargers pick. Just tell me it's Emmanuel Pregnon. Like, this is such a slam dunk of a selection here. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You're getting a good interior offensive lineman. Sure, it's not Emmanuel Pregnon. I mean, you're still... I'm not really worried that he's the 5th best interior offensive lineman on the board. I mean, there's not much of a difference here between Connor Lew, Sam Hecht, Jalen Farmer, and Jake Slaughter. I think it's a little bit of a reach for Jake Slaughter, admittedly, but what I will say is Bradley Bozeman retired, and you're improving the interior offensive line. They did address that. That was the biggest thing. I wanted them to address the trenches, so good on the Chargers for doing that. But certainly would have preferred Pregnon, but it's not awful, I would say. It's not a home run, but it's not like a strikeout either. I'd probably give it a B. I'd say a rock solid B. That would be the grade for that selection, is how I would grade that one. All right, Seattle's up. They took Jadarian Price. There's questions about Anthony Bradford at guard, and Emmanuel Pregnon falls into your lap. So, who are the Seattle Seahawks going to take? Jermod McCoy's also there. Didn't think that we'd get to the end of round 2 and that the Seahawks would have a chance to go with either Pregnon or Jermod McCoy. By the way, I also had both players higher on my board than Jadarian Price. So for the Seahawks to potentially walk out with either Jermod McCoy or Pregnon in addition to Jadarian Price, that would be a great process by the Seattle Seahawks. The pick is in. All right, Ethan said not sure who, though. Ethan did... Okay, Ethan, we're waiting on this one. We're waiting on who the Seahawks are going to take here. I'm going to see what I can find. Let's see what we can find. See what we can find with the Seahawks pick here at pick 64. Do we have a confirmation? We do not. All I see is that they're on the clock. Seahawks. All right, I see one. Hold on, I don't know if this is a legit source. I don't think that's a legit source. No, that's not a legit source. We saw a fake source. So that's definitely not. I saw that's not a. There's no confirmation. All right, we're seeing Ethan. That's this Ethan. I'm just letting you know that you have the 63rd pick typed out. We'll see if that is. Okay, confirmed. Safety, Bud Clark from TCU. Okay. All right, Bud Clark. PFF has him a little lower on the board. Bud Clark, I thought he was an overall rock-solid safety. He is going to be a player that you're probably not going to like if you are a 49ers or Rams fan. He's going to be a player in Mike Macdonald's defense that Mike Macdonald is going to know how to properly use. You talk about a great landing spot. For clarity, I don't think that Bud Clark is going to have the impact that Nick Emanwari had last year, but in terms of his ability to, just to be a playmaker at the back end of the defense, to always be around the football, I'd be pretty surprised week 15 through 18 next year, you don't see Bud Clark make a big play at the right time. I like the pick for Seattle. You get out of the draft, the first two rounds with Jadarian Price and Bud Clark. This is a very well-run organization. They know what they're doing. They know how to properly use players. They actually have a game plan with what they're doing. I like this pick for the Seahawks. So, this is I would say, like, Mike Macdonald is, let me think how to word this here, the selection of Bud Clark. I would say adding Bud Clark to this defense is a guy that's like a really, really rich, like, multimillionaire that's really into cars, that has, like, Ferraris and Lambos and all of that, and you're adding a nice Corvette to the garage. Like, oh, let's just bring in another car. Let's just bring in another nice car. I like Bud Clark. Good addition to the defense for the Seahawks. I don't think there's anything to be upset about for this pick for Seattle, especially considering your coaching staff actually knows what they're doing and they know how to set up players for success. All right, the Cardinals are up. Jeremiah Love, Chase Bissanis. I mean, if you are going, like, truly all in here for the rebuild and basically saying, hey, we know this year's going to be long. And again, I'm going to kind of get to the point with Emmanuel Pregnon, kind of like Mel Kiper with Shedeur last year. Just why are teams passing on him? The Cardinals' offensive line, the interior offensive line is actually not bad. Sumalo's fine. Froholt's good. They just drafted Bissanis. Emmanuel Pregnon would not necessarily be the best spot here for the Cardinals. So I will kind of like concede that one. Where could the Cardinals go? Kyle Lewis would be a really good player for him. I think Kyle Lewis would be the best. Oh, Jesus. Is this Ethan? Are we serious? Ethan, are we serious here? Source is Nicole Bowman. I don't know who that is. No disrespect if I have no idea who that is. Is this actually what we think it is? Oh, my God. All right. Here. I mean, the Cardinals take University of Miami quarterback Carson Beck. I'm not a fan of the pick. Do you just let me answer this question here? I'm certainly not going to ask this. Hey, do you think Carson Beck as a third-round pick is going to lead this franchise to a Super Bowl? Oh, no, he's not. So guess what? I'm right. You're wrong. I'm not going to do that. That is, I hate the Super Bowl or bust for any quarterback ever. But let's just ask this question. Do you think there's ever going to be a scenario where Carson Beck is entering a Week 13 game with the Cardinals with a 6-5 record? They already had their bye week, so that's why it's 11 games, not 12 games. A 6-5 record, and they're playing for a potential wild card spot and a 7 seed, potential implications down the road. Just why? I mean, I don't understand the plan. I don't understand. If you're a Cardinals fan, I would like for a Cardinals fan to, and Cardinals fans, I know you guys that there's a lot of like, hey, the Cardinals have no fans and all of that. If you are a Cardinals fan, please just walk me through this one. Jeremiah Love, great player. Chase Bissanis, solid pick. This is just such a lighting a pick on fire. This is just why. As a Seahawks fan, I like this pick. I'm sure you do. Why did the Cardinals waste? Why? There we go. Alligator Jones, appreciate the super chat. There are Cardinals fans. I'm out here in Arizona. I have no idea what we're doing. I do appreciate the feedback here. I like the pick. No one expects him to start, and he can sit for a little, maybe develops. The problem is you're almost... I think everybody would be surprised if the Cardinals finish with more than 6 wins this year and they're not selecting with a top 10 pick next year, and then you're selecting a quarterback next year. Now, I will say this. I was not the biggest Tyler Shuck fan coming out in the draft process last year. But what I will say is I like Tyler Shuck a lot more than I like Carson Beck, admittedly. And I would also say that Carson Beck is going to be thrown to the wolves against the Mike McDonald defense. Anyway, chance Jacoby gets traded. Who would take him? I think for Jacoby Brissett to get actually traded, you would have to, somebody would have to go down. I think we'd have to wait till August where an actual big quarterback would have to sustain an injury. So I don't think that Jacoby Brissett would get traded. Cardinals get their backup quarterback in the future. We'll see. Ethan says Broncos. Good call, Ethan. Tyler Onyadam, defensive lineman from A&M. I'm going to see. I'm not sure where I had Tyler. So hold on. I want to see where actually PFF has him, to be honest with you, because this is not going to be a high pick here. Jesus, oh my God. PFF had him at 244. That's an insane pick there. Let me go through just see where Tyler and Yadam was on consensus. I do want to at least pull that up here, but now again, PFF is not everybody's board. They may have been significantly lower, but I can't say that I am moved by this being a team's first pick in the draft. Is what I would say about Tyler and Yadam going to the Broncos. That's 2 picks in the 3rd round, and I can't say I'm a fan of either selection for the teams that selected both of those guys. Now, let me just pull this up here. Tyler and Yadam. Just why? I just want to look at the other defensive linemen that were available here. Dominique Orange is a good run stopper. Caleb Proctor is certainly a player that I like a lot more. Xavier Harris, fun as well. Chris McClellan, good run stopper. Tim Keenan, good run stopper. Albert Regis, significantly more upside. That's one of the worst picks here. I'm sorry. That's. I would love to see. Somebody said just check on Perna. I would love to see what his reaction to this was. Just a clear day 3 guy. A clear day 3 guy. I don't get it, man. Take him at 66. We're not even. We're not. I mean, we weren't even. There's times where what frustrates me with teams is there's times where who's going to take him? Like, who's going to take him in the next 5 picks? So, I reiterate, as a Broncos fan, crap. So, PFF was a lot lower than consensus on Yiadom, but still. I'm not the biggest fan of this selection, I would say. I watched Albert Regis, and I was significantly more impressed with Regis than I was in Yiadom, and I didn't think that the tape was that great. But anyway, do we have the Raiders pick at 67 here? This is a very crazy draft class all around. I love this class, by the way. This is a very fun class to cover. All right. Let's see here. Yes, we have 6-7 here. This is the pick. I would say the best way to probably describe Tyler and Yiadom is there's times where if you've ever heard the term, or if you've ever heard somebody say this guy doesn't show up on the stat sheet but he makes plays, like a disruptor rather than a producer, that's probably the best way to describe him. But all right, Ethan, the Raiders have selected Auburn pass rusher Kieran Crawford. I like that. That's a good pick for them. I do like that for the Raiders. I did not like Traden Stukes, and I really don't like the fact that they're not trying to help out Fernando Mendoza with a receiver in this class. They have another third-round pick at 91. We'll see what happens. But I certainly prefer Kieran Crawford, or I do like that selection for what it is. I am a Romello height guy, but I can at least I can understand the thought process here behind this pick. All right, let's keep it rolling, maybe. Why does nobody take receivers? Yeah, I don't know either. Kieran Crawford will actually... Why I like Kieran Crawford going to the Raiders is I think he's a really good player opposite of Max Crosby. And in terms of being able to like layer your pass rush in terms of having different players, because I don't think you necessarily want to have like 4 power rushers, if you will, meaning like the exact same archetype of player. Kieran is a good change of pace to Max Crosby. I like this pick for the Raiders. I'd probably give it a B. Per Zach Berman, the Eagles are taking tackle Markel Bell. So Markel Bell is an absolutely massive offensive tackle. If you are not aware of his size, 6'9", 345. This is an interesting pick for the Birds because Lane Johnson is going to retire soon. He's entering year 14 now. And you want to have a question of what can we actually, can we find a guy that can like potentially replace Lane? Can we find a guy that can be the long-term successor to Lane Johnson? I think that this is a little rich for Markel Bell, not by like 2 or 3 rounds, or not that it's, the 200 best prospect in this class, but in the sense of overdrafting a player by maybe 15 to 20 picks, I would say a little bit. But if you think that Markel Bell can legitimately be the long-term replacement for Lane Johnson, this is a great pick. I was a little lower on him relative to where he was selected, but I trust this organization, and you also just acquired Jonathan Grenard, so I can get behind this pick for this specific organization. I don't think that this pick would be. I don't think that this player would be a great pick for every team, I would say. Did I like the D'Angelo Pons picks for the Jets? Yes, absolutely. All right, the Bears are on the clock. Let's go through the third round real quick, or just the first couple picks. Carson Beck, Tyler and Yadam. I thought it was overdrafted, or I thought he was over. Not it. I don't want to call a person it. I thought he was overdrafted, but they lost John Franklin Myers. He's certainly not going to be that player. Certainly not going to be JFM. But if you think there's some way that he can come in and third down situations, try and get after the quarterback, I guess. Maybe. Just not a big fan of that. Kieran Crawford, like it for the Raiders. Markel Bell, like it for the Birds. Now, do we know who the Bears are taking? The Bears' first couple of picks. Dylan Thieneman, Logan Jones. Love both prospects. Love both prospects. Do we have a confirmation as to who the Bears are selecting at pick 69? Joseph is a big Bears fan. Joseph is a big Bears fan. I'm eager to see. Joseph, you are in the chat. Who do you think you're taking here at pick 69? AJ Halsey's still a good player. He's available. Grayson Halton is an interesting defensive tackle. I like him. Still waiting on the Bears pick. Do we have confirmation of who the Chicago Bears... If the Bears take Jermod McCoy, I mean, it's just like, come on, man. Like that would be such a good pick for them. Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Jalen Jones, Jermod McCoy. Is Jermod McCoy the pick? I see people are saying Jermod McCoy is the pick, but I need Ethan's confirmation. And I don't even know if the pick is in. The Bears have selected Dylan Thieneman and Logan Jones so far. I'm going to be kind of upset if Jermod McCoy is the pick for kind of obvious reasons. We'll see. There's a lot of good prospects for the Bears available to take, which is what is kind of scary as a Vikings fan. Pregnon's still available, although he's certainly not going to go to Chicago. But the 49ers, I mean, San Francisco, you've done some questionable things so far. Go ahead and take them. Who are the Bears going to take? Who is a Ben Johnson pick? What tight ends are available? Would they want 13 personnel? Would they want another... You know what, the Bears could go receiver. Receiver makes a lot of sense for the Bears here. The Bears drafting... I think the Bears drafting Chris Bell would make sense, or Chris Brazzell. Hearing Roush at 69, dude, please no. He is so good. Like, that is my guy, man. And he's going to go to a Ben Johnson team. Here we go. The pick is about to be announced. I think it's Peanut Tillman announcing the pick. The Bears are taking Stanford tight end Sam Roush. Great. The Bears drafted 3 of my favorite prospects in the class. That's it's a great pick. The Bears, I mean, it's chess, not checkers. Dylan Thieneman, Logan Jones, Sam Roush. The Chicago Bears are building a great football team. This is what it looks like in real time. Where's the Sam Roush confirmation from Ethan? All right. In this stream, football analysis goes through the 5 stages of grief. Yeah. I love what the Bears are doing. And it's mainly because it's like if hold on, do we have I just want Ethan's like official All right, Ethan, did we have a confirmation? I'm just going to post one of Ethan's comments here on the screen. Ben Johnson watches the content. If Ben Johnson watches the content, Ben, you're welcome on the channel anytime. Roush is the pick at 69. That's a tremendous pick by the Bears, and the Chicago Bears are absolutely killing it this draft. Somebody said, I think, Walpole Mike, member of the channel, shout out member of the channel. He said, I think it is checkers. They're making easy decisions. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, brother. Good for the Bears. All right, one more pick until we get McCoy in DC. I would like that for the 4. If the Commanders walked out with Sonny Styles and Jermod McCoy, big winners of the draft. Undoubtedly. Somebody asked about Kmet getting traded because the Bears took Sam Roush. Guys, I'll say this. I'll say this all summer on the channel. You saw what the Rams did last year. The NFL is going to move to a lot more. They're going to move to more 12 and 13 personnel, which I criticized the Jets' selection of Kenyon Sadiq initially. I'm more in on it now, also because they had Omar Cooper. But you're going to see a lot more tight end usage. It makes a tremendous amount of sense. Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, Sam Roush. It's good. All right, who are the 49ers taking? Do we have Bears fan here not happy? You will be. You will be, Johnny, unless you wanted a receiver. Romello Height for the 49ers. Good pick. I actually really love that for the 49ers. So, for as much as I did not like the Dejuan Stribling selection, I really like the Romello Height selection. TV got it before me. That's fine, Ethan. Romello Height is the pick. Why I like this selection is I think Romello Height does a really good job of simply getting to the quarterback. What I wrote down for Romello Height is will be 25 in his rookie season, good at getting after the quarterback, really bendy / Gumby-like, had 62 pressures last year. Definitely worry about him setting the edge in the run game, but in terms of getting after the quarterback, this is your guy. So I like this selection a lot for San Francisco. I was not a fan of Micah Williams last year, and I'm not victory lapping that selection because he unfortunately got hurt last year. As much as I'm saying I think that Romello Height is a better pass rusher than Micah Williams. So I like it. My pet bearded dragon says Roush is playing edge force. Appreciate super chat. You guys don't see the vision me and Ryan Poles have. He's good, brother. He's good. He's good. You guys are building a good football team. I see Commanders. See some chatter about the Commanders. See some, is the pick in for the Commanders? The Commanders have one pick. It's Sonny Styles. What are you going to do here? I mean, you could go, not tight end. Didn't want to click that one. You could go Chris Bell's a steal at this point. You could go Chris Brazzell. You could go Ted Hurst, Bryce Lance. Who are we drafting here, Commanders? Who are we drafting? Now, if you selected Emmett Johnson, I'd be fine with that. If you selected Mike Washington, I wouldn't be the biggest fan, but Commanders, what are we doing here? What is the Washington Commanders? So the pick is not in yet. The pick is not in. We'll see. We'll see where the Commanders go. The Vikings are coming back up in 11 picks, so we'll see what the Minnesota Vikings do very shortly. Let's keep it rolling, baby. Let's keep it rolling. Commanders pick is in, is what somebody just said. Maybe I'm a couple seconds behind. The Washington Commanders. Like I said, I can't comment on Jermod McCoy's injury. I would love Jermod McCoy for any team at this point. Ethan does not know. I mean, Trey Amos, Mike Sanderstill, Jermod McCoy. That'd be a great corner trio. Where are we going? I would love Emmett Johnson going to the Washington Commanders. I think that would be an actual running back rather than the RB2 setup they have in DC right now. I have no idea where this team goes here. Receiver would be good. I'd be fine with Chris Bell. Receiver, Ethan says Antonio Williams to Commanders. All right, so Antonio Williams is up. This is going to be a player that you're going to hear a lot of. This is going to be a better pro than college player. Antonio Williams, I don't like this. I'm sorry. I'm not an Antonio Williams guy. Oh man, I'm struggling for words here. I don't think that he is a good enough separator to succeed at the NFL level. I worry about a lot of things within his game. I worry about the physicality within routes. I worry about the long speed. I worry about the play speed. I worry about the role that he's going to have. I don't like this pick for the Washington Commanders. I really don't. I was a lot lower on Antonio Williams. I had him at player 107 for reference. They take him, where did they end up taking him? 71. That's minus 36 spots. I don't like it. And because why I don't like this is you have two top 100 picks in this draft. The Washington Commanders have 3 top 150 picks. I simply ask this question here for the Washington Commanders. What is Antonio Williams' ceiling as a player? I'm not a big fan of his game at all. I didn't have him in my top 15 receivers for a reason. I didn't have my top 100 for a reason. Whenever you evaluate players, there's a part of it where you think, how can this guy have an impact at the next level? What can this guy do to have success at the NFL level? What is his calling card? I can't definitively answer that with Antonio Williams. I'm not a big fan of this pick at all. Maybe this looks horrible in a couple of years, but I'm Ginn Jr. comparison, no. Oh man, I think there's better receivers available personally, but oh, I love this. I love whenever you disagree with a pick. I love this. Dre Bly loves this guy, a real NFL CB. I love that. There were so many better receivers available. We'll see. Maybe it looks horrible. Maybe they clearly have a definitive plan for him. I'm just not a fan of that one. All right. The Bengals are on the clock. The Bengals drafted Cassius Howe. Guys, if the Bengals can walk out with, again, Dexter Lawrence, Cassius Howe, Emmanuel Pregnon, you're building a really good football team. So I'll be eager to see what the Bengals have up their sleeves here at pick 72. And would Bengals fans push back? They push back when I would mock Francis Malinella to them at 10 because their offensive line is fine. Would they push back at 72? So, other than that, AJ Halsey would make sense for the Bengals. The Bengals are in a good position here, guys. I'll tell you, in terms of the Bengals building their team over the past couple of weeks, you know what I find myself getting excited about with teams is teams that are doing things the right way. So what that kind of means is the Bengals have been, I think the Bengals have been doing a lot of great things over the past, month and change. And this is something that I can really buy into and believe in. All right, Speedy, appreciate it. Speedy, long time no see, Speedy, brother. Hope you're doing well. Hat tip. Is McCoy's knee just dust, and when is Chris Bell going off the board? We're talking about 2 players with knee injuries. I can't answer. I think both players are both significant draft steals at this point. So I don't know. But both players are definitely draft steals at this point. Thoughts on Jacob Rodriguez to the Dolphins? Absolutely love it. That was my favorite pick they've made so far. But if the Bengals walk out here with either Pregnon or Halsey, I would love both picks. I could definitely talk myself into Kamari Ramsey. Zakee Wheatley would also be fine. there's a lot of directions here the Bengals could go. So why do I think Pregnon has slid so far? Brother, I don't have an answer for that. Every year there's a player or two I don't have an answer. I don't, maybe, and I have no idea, but maybe he interviewed poorly. I have no idea. Kyle Lewis would also be good. Good call on Kyle Lewis. He was my 51st player on my board. That's definitely a pick I could get behind. The Bengals pick is in. Do we know? Ethan, do we know? Here we go. I'm just going to go here. Tacario Davis, corner, Washington. Tacario Davis is going to be a big outside corner. If you're not aware, look at this height here. 6'4". He's a player that is, I would say, kind of more fun to think about what he can do. Like, he's kind of like a Madden corner where it's like, man, I can't wait to hit, like the aggressive catch and win all those jump balls against receivers. He's an interesting prospect. He was a player a couple of years ago that people thought he could be a top 15 or 20 pick maybe in the 2025 draft, which obviously he didn't come out for the 2025 draft. I am not the biggest fan of that selection, mainly because when you look at the Bengals roster right now, Tacario Davis, given that he is 6'4", I kind of just ask the question, what is the usage here with this? Like, what is the plan here? So where do we see Tacario Davis actually starting for this team? Not a fan. You have Dax Hill, you have DJ Turner. I would have preferred Keontae Scott, who is a good slot corner. I can't say I understand going after a big outside corner like that. Keith Abney is also a better player than Tacario Davis in almost every aspect, and he's still on the board. Keith Abney's also a steal at this point. That's one where I really don't get. I'm not the biggest fan of that one. The Saints took Georgia tight end Oscar Delp. That was fast. All right, so the Saints now have Jordan Tyson, Christian Miller, Oscar Delp. So Delp is... Hold on, he's going to be low on the board because I feel like this wasn't updated for... I'll just say I don't think the PFF board was updated, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. No further comment. But what I will say about Oscar Delp was there's a lot of people that I talked to, and there's a lot of excitement about Oscar Delp to be a better pro than he was a college player. I also don't think that he was in the best situation for himself to personally succeed in college in terms of usage, in terms of volume thrown his way. Remember, Zachariah Branch was also in this offense, and Zachariah Branch was a player that had there were so many screens thrown Zachariah Branch's way. I think Oscar Delp going to the Saints is a good draft pick for what it is. I would probably give it a B. Would probably be the grade for Oscar Delp going there. Now, they already selected Jordan Tyson. They have Juwan Johnson and Noah Fant on the roster. So what we are seeing tonight in real time is kind of like the tight end implementation of what you're going to see this fall. Ethan, appreciate it. The Giants are trading up to take Malachi Fields. Okay, so the Giants trade 74. I need to know where they're coming up from. What is the details here? The Giants did not have a third rounder. Did they give up a future pick for this? Do we know what the trade details here for the Giants are? Giants Browns trade. And then I'll talk about Malachi Fields here in a second. All right, so it's 105, 145, and a 4 next year. Okay, so all right, first initial is the Browns fleece here. This is tremendous value for Cleveland. Love that. Browns are still killing it, guys. Browns are that's incredible. I like that for them a lot. Now, Malachi Fields going to the Giants. I'm not a Malachi Fields fan. I heard my ex-wife said that your favorite player. That's fitting. I'm not a Malachi Fields guy at all. I don't see the vision with Malachi Fields. I don't think he's a particularly great separator. I don't think he's certainly not fast. He's a player where when NFL corners are going to be in his grill and they're going to be in his face regularly and they're going to, watch the tape, figure out how they can slow him down. I just ask the question, how is Malachi Fields going to succeed at the NFL level? Malachi Fields' career high in receiving yards in college was 811. He had just 630 yards and 5 touchdowns this year for Notre Dame. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. And you will see some things with Malachi Fields about how he is a big contested catch guy. I have the numbers right in front of me. Lifetime, he contested catch percentage is less than 50%. 47.3% to be exact. So, why? There's better receivers available. Chris Bell is a much better receiver than Malachi Fields. The Browns, as far as I am concerned, fleeced in this trade. Seems like another Miles Boykin, but worse. That's a good callback to the, 2019 draft. That is a good comparison. I think my unofficial, because I don't have comparisons for everybody. I think my comparison was N'Keal Harry. Oh, here we go. Andrew, appreciate it, brother. I love the comment. Appreciate it. Thank you, Andy. I know, I hate everything. I hate everything the Giants have done. You're right. I really hated them taking Arvell Reese last night, my number 3 player on the board. I really hated them drafting Francis Mauigoa to protect Jackson Dart. I really hated it. I really hated the hire of John Harbaugh. I can't stand a lot of things the Giants have done. You're right. I really didn't like the Colton Hood selection, a good man-to-man corner. I really just hated everything the Giants have done. You're right, Colton. Or you're right, Andrew. You're right. And then you can see my big board right here. I really hated the fact they got him at 37. I have Colton Hood at 24. I really hated Arvell Reese being a +2 value at 3. I really hated Francis Mauigoa being a +3 value at 7. I really hated everything the Giants have done. So you're right, Andrew. I am full of crap. You're right. I hate everything the Giants have done so far. Malachi Fields, hopefully we'll see what happens. What is his ceiling? I would be eager to know, or I would be eager to ask what the projection with him is. Do you think he's going to be a legit wide receiver 2 in his first season? Obviously, even Giants fans, they know he's not going to be the wide receiver 1, obviously. But I don't think, and obviously they're different players because Malachi Fields is a big-bodied, prototypical X-receiver body. I don't think they're different bodies than Darnell Mooney. But I don't think he's a better receiver than Darnell Mooney. So what are we talking about here? I will say the Giants' receiving room was obviously not great. When you look at the receivers in the room, it's certainly not great. But I just wonder what the projection for him is. Is Chris Bell at 80 good value? Tremendous, yes. All right, let's see here. Mountain Man, appreciate it. He says Bud Clark next to Eamon Worry could be dangerous. Yes, I agree. Would love it. All right, let's keep it rolling here. I appreciate this, Mr. Giardi. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hold on, Ethan. Oh boy, Caleb Douglas, wide receiver from Texas Tech. All right, I will be eager to see. And again, these rankings are not updated from PFF, but I'm eager to see how far down they have Caleb Douglas. I'm going to make this scroll here. 156 for Caleb Douglas. The Dolphins select Caleb Douglas. Again, your big-bodied X receiver. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of the Dolphins selecting Caleb Douglas there. Mainly because, guys, there's times in the draft where I just ask questions, right? Okay, what does Caleb Douglas do better than Chris Bell. What does he do better than Chris Brazzell? What does he do better than Bryce Lance? What does he do better than Ted Hurst? All of these players are that big, 6'2" plus. They have the big height that the Dolphins clearly wanted with this player. So I ask the question, like, what is the vision? Why did you select Caleb Douglas over these guys? I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I wouldn't have Caleb Douglas in my top 20 receivers. I don't like it. There's a couple of super chats. I appreciate it. Nez Quick, as always, says, cheer up. At least every bad player taken is one less mistake the Vikings front office could make. If you've ever seen that meme where it's like, it's the girl, like, and it's a meme from like 12 or 15 years ago. Like, you can tell it's an older meme based on the camera quality, where it's like her face is like real gross, and then it's like, but you have a good point. And it's like the finger point. It's like, it's a good point. It's a good point. Slimo says, Big Dog, sorry about the Grenard trade. We spoke it into existence on stream last night. How are the Titans grading out? Tighten up. The Titans, I mean, I like Anthony Hill. I'm not the biggest Keldrick Falk guy, but drafting Carnell Tate, like what they're doing. So, like what the Titans are doing. And then another super chat from Preston says, I'm still pissed about the Jags pick. I have faith in Gladstone, but a blocking tight end in the top 60 is crazy, especially when we have other glaring needs. I would agree. That is a pick that I think is going to kind of, that's just kind of going to be like, ugh. All right, let's keep it rolling here. The Steelers, no way. The Steelers are taking Drew Aller. Warpaul Mike, I'll get to your super chat in a minute. The Steelers are taking Drew Aller. I thought Drew was going to go tonight because this draft has been crazy. This is, man, that Drew Aller going to the Steelers to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year. Look, Drew Aller is like a lesser version of Will Levis, where I'm not like a big Drew Aller guy. I want to get that. I was very frustrated watching him at Penn State, but in terms of a dart throw, I can understand why the Steelers are making this dart throw. They took Max Ianachor last night. They take Drew Aller tonight, and this is, they take Jeremy Bernard. If everything works out for the Steelers, I mean, this could be a great draft for them. I mean, this is a big dart throw here for the Steelers. But you also have to remember Aaron Rodgers. Let me just say here this, by the way. I'm a Vikings fan. Take a wild guess how I feel about Aaron Rodgers, watching him just torment my team for 15 years. Aaron Rodgers generally, you could ask him a question of, hey, Aaron, are you going to play this year? Well, actually, Yeah, he gives you the him and hawing for 20 minutes about a simple yes or no question. He still is not on the roster. He is still not. The Steelers have to move on. Maybe it's one more year. I like this as a developmental pick. Drew Aller has all the tools. They're going to boo in the crowd because Aller's Penn State and Pitt and Penn State are big rivals. But in terms of like a dart throw, I like it. It's a good landing spot. And there's going to be a lot of big highlights from Aller. So I like the dart throw here. All right, super chat from Walpole Mike. He says, respectfully, I ask that you don't remind us we took N'Keal Harry and traded away the pick that became DK Metcalf. We're still hurting. At least, I mean, buddy, you can close your eyes and think about 6 different Super Bowls. Like, you're good. And plus, you have Drake May now. You're good. Faded Warrior says, how would you feel if the Packers get Pregnon? As a Vikings fan, I would dislike it, which means I think it would be a tremendous pick. So, Green Bay is on the clock. All right, what do we have the details here? And by the way, like I like the idea of bringing Drew Aller in as a dart throw. I would have preferred the Cardinals to take Drew Aller at 65 than Carson Beck. So let's take a look here. The Packers and Bucks 77. What is the trade details? The pick is in for the Packers. Do we know what the trade details are? All right, here it is. Michael Holtman. Shout out Michael Holtman. Good call. There was a couple other people that tweeted, but Michael was the first one I saw. 84 and 160 for 77. I think it's actually a pretty cheap move up. Good for the Packers. It's a good trade for the Packers, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Who are the Packers going to draft? Regarding... Oh, wow. Okay, so the Packers take Chris McClellan, defensive tackle, Missouri. This is a pick to me that I think is by every definition not sexy, but it's a player that I think teams are going to This is one that Packers fans will come to appreciate over the years. There's times every year where you'll see, how could this team have passed on this guy? How could this team have taken this guy? Whatever. I think Chris McClellan is fine. I think he's a fine player. 77. You get a good interior defensive lineman, and I like the process for the Packers. You give up 160 to move up 7 spots at this point in the draft. I think it's a good pick for him. I really do. And when you look at the interior defensive line, Devontae Wyatt, Jordan Riley, and then you look at some of the other guys in the line, Carl Brooks, Javon Hargrave, Warren Brinson, Jaden Crumedy, that's a good player to add into that room. So I like it. I like it for the Packers. I think it's a good process for them to bring in what I think is a good player. Now, what I will say that Jermod McCoy is available still at pick 78. This, I don't know how far he's going to fall. All it takes is one team to fall in love. But what I will say about Jermod McCoy is I think it's telling that every single team is still passing on him. We'll see. I hope that, I hope Jermod McCoy can play and be a good NFL player. But right now it's definitely telling. And again, I don't have access to medicals, obviously, but I question how long Jermod McCoy would be out. Is he going to miss his entire rookie year? I don't know what teams are thinking right now. All right, the pick is in for the Colts at 78. And the Vikings are coming back up here at 82. We got a couple more picks to work back up. All right. Who has had the worst draft so far? I'm not going to go down that route right this second. There will be a biggest winners and losers so far video out shortly after the draft. I mean, I would say the Broncos probably just because they've had one pick and I didn't think the pick was an impact player, but that's kind of not exactly fair. CJ Allen and good call Ethan. Good call AJ Halsey. You bring in CJ Allen, you bring in AJ Halsey. Guys, this is a good draft so far by Chris Ballard, all things considered. If you would have said that you can walk out of the 26th draft with your top 100 being Sauce Gardner, CJ Allen, and AJ Halsey, you would take that. That's a good haul. I like what the Colts are doing. And I mean, AJ Halsey is a really good player. The safeties in that room, Cam Bynum, Jonathan Owens, Wanye Thomas, Daniel Scott, Ruben Lowry. It's a good pick. It's a really good pick. AJ Halsey is a really good player. I think he was certainly a steal at this point for where he was draft board wise. So I do like that pick for the Colts relative to where they just drafted him. So I think AJ Halsey, good player I think he'll be a good player, and I think he can actually start for some time for the Colts once he cracks that starting lineup. I'm trying to figure out where I had him on my board. There he is. Had him at player 61. So to have him at player 61, you get him at 78. Good value. I like that. All right, people are saying Daniel Jones is still ass, but that doesn't have anything to do with the pick. What are they supposed to do? Would you want them to take Nuss, Cade Klubnik? You want to take Diego Pavia? It's a good pick for the Colts. Oh, Ethan's got to run. Love your content. Appreciate it. Appreciate you letting me get some breaking news. Yeah, of course. Appreciate you being here. Somebody's got to step up. Who's going to step up with Ethan out? All right. Let's keep it going here, boys. Let's keep it going. Falcons pick 79. Appreciate you being here, Ethan, by the way. The Falcons, I have 1 confirmation, 2 confirmations, 3 confirmations. The Falcons are selecting wide receiver Zachariah Branch. Let me just openly say this. I am not a Zachariah Branch guy. I will be pretty open to that. I'll just left hand up from the start. If I'm wrong on this one, I'm wrong. But I do not think that he is that great of a player. I think he's just an average, just a guy at the next level. But I like the situation for him going to Atlanta because there's not a lot of talented receivers on that team, of course, outside of Drake London. We have Jahan Dotson, Olamide Zaccheaus, Dylan Drummond, and Devin Tompkins. I'll say this, Zachariah Branch is certainly going to have the opportunity to compete. I definitely think the line that we say with players at times he'll be a better pro than college player is certainly applicable for Zachariah Branch. But I'm just not. I don't think he's. I don't think he's a particularly great separator. He's athletic. I just don't think that it necessarily translates to the football field. The screen usage was utterly insane for Georgia last year. Jonathan right here says, as a Dogs fan, Branch was a tad underwhelming in 2025. I'm not a Zachariah Branch guy. I hope I'm wrong. I never want to go into a process and hope that a player becomes a draft bust so that I can be right, but I think there's several better receivers on the board than what they just drafted. Several. Not one or two, but several. So we'll see what happens with Zachariah Branch. He's definitely a player that I was a bit lower on than consensus, but just not the biggest Zachariah Branch guy. So had him at player 95. So not the biggest reach, but just not a huge fan. All right, the Ravens are out. Jermod McCoy, Vega Ioane and Zion Young have been their two picks. So I expect the Ravens to do something great here. They generally do. Who are the Ravens going to take here at pick 80? All I see is the Ravens are on the clock. There's a lot of great players here for the Ravens to have the opportunity to take. They're on the clock here at pick 80. And by the way, we're up in 2 picks at 82, so I'm looking forward for that one. I miss Ethan already. Hey, if somebody wants to, All right, who are the Ravens going to take? There's a lot of great players still available for the Baltimore Ravens. This is what I would also agree with, by the way, here from Cody Monday. He says, it says a lot about Jermod McCoy's knees that the Vikings felt fine taking Banks, but pass on McCoy multiple times. Agree. So many guys I like here as a Ravens fan. Yeah, there are a lot of great players. I'm seeing Jacoby Lane. I'm not having a confirmation. I need a confirmation here. We need a confirmation. Have not seen any confirmation. Lane confirmed. Lane, okay, I see 1, 2, 3. Lane confirmed. Jacoby Lane confirmed. All right, good call, guys. Good call, chat. Not sure who had it first, but I do appreciate that. Jacoby Lane, way down on PFF's board. Jacoby Lane is... Again, he's your typical big-bodied receiver. My biggest thing with Jacoby Lane is, guys, I was not a Malachi Fields fan, and my biggest thing with Jacoby Lane here is I kind of think he's, I would say, a worse version of Malachi Fields. So, this is the first one I don't like for the Ravens. Let me see where I had where I had Jacoby Lane on the board. I know I was lower on him, but I am not I don't like this. I am not a Jacoby Lane guy, and I'm not a big fan of the archetype of receiver where you're a big 6'4" X receiver and you can't separate. Your calling card is contested catches, and you still have a contested catch rate of less than 50%. So I'm openly not a Jacoby Lane guy. Maybe I get proven wrong and maybe I look horrible. I don't like the pick. If you can't separate, then I have a lot of questions. So we'll see how it pans out. We will see how it pans out. But that's one where I think the Ravens did a really good job and in the first two picks and did not like this one. You know what, Mello? I am an idiot when it comes to technology, so appreciate that one. That is one that I will definitely take into account moving forward. Johnny Barks, the GOAT, the GOAT himself. Just realized the Bears got two of your favorite prospects. Yeah, they got actually three. I love Logan Jones. Logan Jones was my guy. So we're going to be up here in a minute. But Johnny Barks, hope you're doing well, brother. Hope you're doing well. Johnny is an editor for the one and only Tom Grassi. And he's a legend. Both of them are legends. But the Jags are up at pick 81. All right, the Jags are back on the clock. I'm going to be kind of annoyed if the Vikings trade out at pick 82. We're waiting for confirmation for the Jags pick. The Jags, not a fan of Nate so far. I did not like that pick. They're not going to take Justin Joly. Although I would have certainly preferred Justin Joly over Nate. Over Nate Borkircher. Would have preferred that one. Guys, I would love for the Jags to draft a pass rusher. If the Jags draft deny Dennis Sutton, I think that's a good pick. You get him behind Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. I would love that. All right. Let's see here. Do we have confirmed? Justin Joly is from my high school. That's awesome. I always like hearing stories about guys that are like from like if you went to school with somebody, if you went, oh, hey, guess what? I was in this class with whoever. My big one is I went to the same college as Agent Bajent, baby. Shout out. I would have actually also preferred the Cardinals to trade for Tyson Bajent than I would have selected Carson Beck, but that's just me. Anyway. And that has nothing to do with me going to Shepherd as much as I just think Tyson Bajent is a better player than Carson Beck. Do we have confirmation for the Jags pick? Because the pick is in. And then the Vikings are up here at pick 82. Who are the Vikings going to take? But who are the Jags going to take? The Jags, I see one tweet. I see one, I see two, I see a verified. Okay, the Jags are taking Albert Regis, the defensive lineman from Texas A&M. Now, we talked about this a little earlier when the Broncos were on the clock. The thing is I like Albert Regis at 81, certainly a lot more than I like the Broncos taking Tyler Onyedim, the other defensive lineman from Texas A&M. But I can at least understand this one a little more. I will be fully transparent here. I don't like the Jags draft so far with Nate Borkircher and Albert Regis. I feel like that this is not a great class, but I at least can see the upside with Albert Regis, or more so than I can with Nate. So the Jags class so far, not like the biggest, but I know there are some people that are really high in Albert Regis. There are some people that think that despite not necessarily showing up all the time in the stat sheet, that some people think that he is a tremendous player, that he's a big-time disruptor. We'll see we'll see how his career plays out, but he's a big height, weight, speed guy, or more of an athletic testing guy, rather. He ran a sub 4.9 40 at 308 pounds, jumped 34 inches, also did 27 reps on the bench press. There were a couple of people that had Albert Regis inside their top 150. I think I actually had him around exactly 150, but for reference, DJ had him at player 150, so just not a big Albert. I mean, not like it's not awful, but I can understand the process rather. All right, the Vikings are on the clock. The pick is in. I will go full screen here in case we have a blunder pick, and I'll wait till the pick is actually live. I know you guys like reacting live, so we'll get that one in. Ty Kendall says, just got off the road, heard the Bengals picks, but not your opinions. What did you think? Because I honestly really like it. What's up, Ty? Appreciate it. And I was not the biggest fan of Tacario Davis, but I absolutely loved the Cassius House selection. So, all right, let's keep it going here. So appreciate the super chat, Ty. Hope you're doing well. Really hope you're doing well. All right, and again, I'm not checking the chat now because I want a raw reaction for whoever we take here. I know that our pick is in. We have selected Caleb Banks and Jake Golday so far. I would be really happy with Keith Abney. I think that would be a good selection. Let me think here. We also just traded Jonathan Grenard. So Deny Dennis Sutton would be a fine player. Actually, Deny Dennis Sutton, Joshua Josephs, I'd be good with either player. Probably, I think Flores would actually love Joshua Josephs. I think that would be actually his guy. So we're going Joshua Josephs would probably be I'm trying to think of how the team would think here. Jennings Dunker I'd also be fine with. So both of my picks so far, I would have went Dylan Thieneman in the first round. I would have went Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in the second round. And my selections here, I would love Keith Abney. I would love Jennings Dunker. And I would also love Chris Bell or Chris Brazzell because, quite frankly, the Vikings don't have that type of player. So I'm just going to be honest. I can't wait to see how this team disappoints me here because this has been a night. We'll see what happens here. But the phone is off. I'm not looking at the chat because I don't want any disruptions. Unfortunately, the draft is on commercial on TV. So, by the way, if I do look over like this way, I'm not looking at it. My hand's in front of it. But if I look this way, I'm looking at the screen to see the comments. So I'm not looking at the comments because I want to get the raw live reaction. The pick is in. I gave you my guys. Chris Bell, Keith Abney, Jennings Dunker, Chris Brazzell, any of those guys would be fine. If I were on the clock right here as the GM, probably go Chris Bell, assuming medicals are half decent. If they weren't, then I would go Keith Abney. But again, I would have access to the medicals. Anyway, here we go. Brian O'Neill. Okay. Oh, let's go! Let's go! Good pick. Good pick. Finally. There we go. Big citrus. Let's go. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm back. That's a good pick. Okay. Big citrus is a tone setter. I like this pick. Look, I have been very frustrated watching my team play over the years in big games. Teams just pummel this team, and they they're the bigger, stronger team. You go in there and you're not like, oh, we're not tough. We're not this. We're not that. Dominique Orange in Brian Flores defense with Caleb Banks. We got to assume the health there with Caleb Banks. This is one I absolutely love. Great pick. This is one, big citrus, just great. Rob, great pick. I would still have preferred Emmanuel McNeil-Warren over Jake Golday, but Dominique Orange, big citrus. Let's go, baby. All right, there we go. That's a good one. That's like a big run stopper in the middle of the defense. Big citrus. I'm ecstatic, guys. That's a good one. Big citrus, we're good. Big citrus is a Viking. I love that. All right. That's good. This is a good comment here. Laughing at the big citrus pick reaction while pissing, missed the bowl. That's a good. I like that. The Panthers pick is in, by the way.
2026 NFL Draft. Once again, your reigning NFC South champs, Carolina Panthers select Chris Brazzell.
Good pick for the Panthers. Love that pick for the Carolina Panthers to be able to get Chris Brazzell. That is a tremendous pick. So I like that. I like that pick a lot for the Carolina Panthers. So Monroe Freeling, Lee Hunter, Chris Brazzell, great pick. All right, but let me see here. Let me keep this rolling. Guys, I am going to be honest with you here. I'm not going to go be live after this, but I am going to, let me move this thing. There we go. I will be releasing a video after round 3 of the draft. So what I'm going to go do now is I'm going to go wind down for a little bit, relax, and then I will have a video out immediately after. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed the content so far. I appreciate everybody being here. Cannot thank everybody enough for the support, and I'll have a video out in a couple of hours. But as always, until next time, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys, and thanks for spending night 2 of the draft with me. And can't thank you guys enough. Love you guys.